Chapter 82. The people of Feng Prefecture hated the people of the surrounding prefectures to the bone. They thought to themselves, "Why are you so troublesome? It's fine if you use the curved plough and submit a memorial, but don't say a lot of good things about the county magistrate of Sanshui County in your memorial. You even mention the auspicious signs and the gifts to the people of the county." When the auspicious signs were mentioned in Feng Prefecture, they only mentioned the auspicious signs of the prefecture, but the gifts on New Year's Eve were not mentioned at all. Now, the report from the higher-ups had already been sent to the prefecture. The wording was not harsh at all, but it was constantly scolding from all aspects. Why didn't Feng Prefecture report this kind of thing and let other prefectures report it? It was because the wording was not harsh that the people in the prefecture were afraid. If the wording was harsh, it meant that the higher-ups had a close relationship with you. This kind of bland questioning was the most frightening. If one did not do well, it was easy to lose one's position, or even be locked in prison to suffer. While everyone was busy with the spring ploughing, the people in the prefecture were discussing how to deal with this matter. No one dared to continue suppressing the credit of the county magistrate of Sanshui County. In desperation, everyone discussed a solution. The sky was gloomy, as if it could fall at any time. The wind also cheered. At this time, the villagers in various places looked up at the sky, waiting for the rain to fall. The people of Sanshui County were the same. However, the sky was gloomy for a few hours, and in the afternoon, the clouds disappeared and the wind stopped. When all the villagers saw this situation, their hearts sank. Today was the grain rain, which should be the time to sow seeds. If it didn't rain, who would dare to sow seeds? Especially some old people who knew how to look at the sky, their eyes were full of panic. It's over, there won't be rain for a few days. County Magistrate Cheng of Sanshui County was also sitting in the yamen, staring blankly at the sky. After a while, he turned his head and asked the person beside him, "Little Luo Shui, how's the water?" This time, he finally called the person by his full name. "Sir, the water is very shallow. It hasn't rained for a few days, and the melted snow has already flowed away." The person beside him answered carefully, "It's over, hurry, immediately send people to this official. This official wants to dig a well." County Magistrate Cheng trembled as he stood up. He anxiously called for all the people in the yamen to come over and arrange for them to dig the well according to the surrounding areas. However, he was also worried that there would not be enough manpower as everyone was waiting to sow the seeds. After everyone left, County Magistrate Cheng stood alone at the entrance of the yamen. From time to time, commoners would pass by and greet him. He was not in the mood to respond to them one by one. The commoners seemed to be able to understand the difficulty of the county magistrate. It had not rained for the past few days, even when it was Guyu. Furthermore, it seemed that there would not be any rain for the next few days. In the evening, there was good news. However, this news was nothing to be happy about for County Magistrate Cheng. The people from the state sent a token, which meant that they recognized his contribution and would report it to the imperial court. However, the reason why the state didn't report it before was because he didn't want people from the state to report it. "Sir, you don't have to share your credit with others anymore," said the deputy district magistrate. He wanted to cheer the district magistrate up. "Merit, merit. What merit is there left? If this drought is not handled properly, I will be at fault. Have all the people I sent returned? How is the situation?" County Magistrate Cheng was listless. He sat on the chair and leaned his entire body against the back of the chair. Even so, he was still slipping down. "Most of the people have returned. Chiang village is experiencing drought and the villagers are fighting for water. A few of them are injured and the water they snatched is barely enough to sow the grains. However, if it still doesn't rain in a few days, we will have to think of other solutions. Shihe village is still alright. There is still some water in the river that can last for half a month. Now, they have blocked the river. However, Donghe village is finished." But news after news came out from the deputy district magistrate's mouth. Usually, there was no water. When it was not used, there was always water. However, when it was used, they realized that there was not enough water at all. The places that had water could not last for long. Is there no good news? All of them are like this. Yes, there is one place that I haven't mentioned. Zhangjia Zhuangzi over at Tuqiao village. How is he doing over there? County Magistrate Cheng suddenly remembered that the people over there had not returned yet. Sir, there is a river over there. However, that river is formed by the convergence of 4 small rivers. 3 of the rivers are not enough for the village and they have diverted the river water away. The remaining river is usually waist deep and is completely useless. The main thing is that it has been like this for the past few years. It looks like a drought, but in fact, it will rain continuously before and after the grain rain. The people and we are all used to it. The deputy district magistrate sighed. Zhangjia Zhuangzi had given the Yamen too many surprises. However, this time, no one could escape. Reporting, sir, I am back. I am back from Zhangjia Zhuangzi. Just as the deputy district magistrate finished speaking, a voice came from outside the door. Following that, a person ran in. Looking at his travel-worn appearance, one could tell that he had rushed all the way. This person was carrying a large bag on his back. He didn't look heavy, but when he entered the courtyard and stopped, he couldn't say a word. He just stood there, panting. If you're back, then so be it. Find a place to rest. What are you carrying? Asking for things from Zhangjia Zhuangzi again? It's fine if you want it during normal times, but they are also suffering from drought now. How can you? County Magistrate Cheng was so angry that he couldn't finish his sentence. Your Excellency, we didn't take it. It's the things that they, Zhuangzi brought back to Your Excellency's Yamen. Good stuff. Wood ears. 10 catties. Dry. The Yamen runner stammered. What? 10 catties of dried wood ear? How dare you accept such a valuable thing? The drought is so bad. These wood ears can be exchanged for a lot of money. Digging a well requires money. Buying food from outside also requires money. Send them back. We can't accept these things. County Magistrate Cheng and Deputy District Magistrate were shocked. Where did Zhangjia Zhuangzi get so many dried wood ears? The Yamen runner was still panting. He was anxious. In the end, he picked up the bowl of tea from the county magistrate's table and drank the tea in one gulp. He wiped his mouth and finally felt comfortable. He opened the bag and said, Your Excellency, these wood ears were planted by them. They said that they would bring them back to share with the people in the Yamen. Originally, they wanted to give 20 catties, but I didn't dare to accept it. I only brought back 10 catties. After they are brewed, the people in the Yamen will be able to share some and eat fresh. Planted. Wood ears can be planted. The county magistrate and deputy district magistrate were shocked again. They even stood up from their chairs. Both of them did not know how to locate Zhangjia Zhuangzi. Cucumbers could be grown in the winter. There was vegetable oil. They bought carrots that others did not want and made a lot of money. They also found a very simple method of turning brown sugar into white sugar and made chili sauce. A few days ago, they had a curved shaft plow. Now, they could even plant wood ears. Was there anything in this world that they could not do? Well, since they can plant wood ears, they have made a fortune again. Even if there is a drought, they are not afraid. How about his side? Did he not plant anything? County Magistrate Cheng was relieved. Wood ears were precious. If they wanted to eat them, they could go to the mountains or some trees to find them. They could also be found at the place where firewood was transported. This was money. Your Excellency, they have all been planted. Zhangjia Zhuangzi, Wang Zhuangzi and Ji Zhuangzi have all been planted. The Ji Zhuangzi borrowed water from the Zhongzhong and Wang Zhuangzi. They have all been planted. Borrowed water? If the Ji family does not have water in Zhuangzi, could it be that the Zhongzhong and Wang Zhuangzi have water? The county magistrate felt a little dizzy. At this time, the Zhongzhong and Wang Zhuangzi did not have water. Even if they had water, how could they lend it to others? He suspected that the Yamen runner was lying, so his face darkened. It's true, my lord. This lowly one doesn't dare to lie. You don't know, but the Zhong and Wang family's farmstead have dug 6 large ponds, and they are all filled with water. There are still some small streams in the small river, and they are all led to the 6 ponds. When this lowly one arrived, there were already 7 wells there, and 3 more were being dug. The GE family's manor had just been dug up. The well water was sweet and cold, it was delicious. When I got there, I drank 3 big bowls in one go, and the horse I was riding also drank it. The horse drank it too. Okay, stop talking nonsense. You said that there are 6 ponds full of water in Zhangjiazhuangzi, and there are 7 wells that have already been dug. County Magistrate Cheng interrupted the Yamen runner's useless words and found the key point to ask again. That's right, my lord. This lowly one saw it with his own eyes. There were even children from 3 farmsteads playing in the pond. There were more than 1,000 ducks and geese swimming in the pond. There were even people carrying water up the mountain. This lowly one even helped. There were more than 6,000 chickens laying eggs on the mountain, and the farmsteads even caught pigs. Other than that, I also saw grains moved from other places. Because they needed land during the spring plowing season, they moved the grains to the 2 main families of Zhuangzi. There were open spaces there, and each one was like a mountain. That was why I dared to bring back 10 catties of wood ear. I know that they are not poor. The Yamen runner's eyes lit up when he talked about Zhangjiazhuangzi. He explained everything from the beginning to the end of the Zhuangzi and pointed to the 10 catties of wood ear. County Magistrate Cheng and Deputy County Magistrate Zhong Mingsheng sat back in their chairs. To be exact, they fell back. 2 pairs of eyes stared straight at the wood ear. Suddenly, they said at the same time, if I had known, I would have brought back 20 catties of wood ear. Your Excellency, if you really want it, I will go again. I am not afraid of being tired. I will change to another horse. The Yamen runner was also an honest person. He turned to leave after saying that. Stop, are you crazy from being poor? Do you have any shame? They gave it to you. What are you doing asking for it? This Zhangjiazhuangzi is evil. They raised so many things. They dug 6 big ponds and 7 wells in advance. No wonder the GE family wanted to borrow water from them. Ji Yingxi is considered to have a good neighbor. A few days ago, he was playing tricks behind their backs. In the end, he did not do anything to them. The people of Zhangjiazhuangzi knew about it and they even lent water to GE family. If he becomes an official, he will be a good official who brings good fortune to the people. County Magistrate Cheng stopped the Yamen runner and evaluated him. Your Excellency is also a good official. The Deputy County Magistrate said. Chapter 83. Many people were unprepared for the drought. In Sanshui County, only a few villages were still holding on. These villages were all next to larger tributary rivers. The only one that survived without being next to a large tributary river was Tuqiao village. It's really a drought. I don't know what I'm feeling at this time. I don't want a drought or locusts. That way, the people can live a better life. But I hope that the drought and locusts will be more serious. That way, the chickens, ducks, and geese we raise at home will be put to good use. We can also send the prepared food over. Your family's Baihu village can be saved, or even improved. Don't you think it's very contradictory? I mainly can't bear to see people fleeing with their families. That right Prime Minister you mentioned, he cured the locusts in the end, right? Then are the animals we raise still useful? Wang Huan stood by the river and said to Zhong Xiaobao next to her. The river in front of them had long run out of water. It couldn't be said that there was no water. There were locusts swimming back and forth in the river. The whole river was full of puddles. Never study human nature. Just do as you think. Otherwise, you will find that in the end, you will only feel that life is meaningless. Then you will commit suicide. If suicide is successful, then there will be no future. If suicide is not successful, then you will be like me, no longer studying. The meaning of life is to choose. Only those who have the opportunity to choose are happy people. Zhong Xiaobao pulled the slingshot in his hand and released it. A locust fish was knocked over. Its body twisted a few times and then stopped moving. Zhong Xiaobao and Wang Huan's slingshots were made by others. After it was done, They used a lot of strength to rework it based on the principle of leverage. The power was much stronger. Look, the loach is dead, and the other loaches around it can't do anything. I don't know if they would have saved their own kind when they found out they were in danger. After all, I'm not a loach. But I know that this loach told its companions before it died. Otherwise, the other loaches wouldn't have tried so hard to burrow into the ground. We are actually equivalent to a loach, but we are also higher than a loach. At the very least, we are giving water to the Zhuangzi of the GE family. At the very least, you can sacrifice yourself when you make the choice and live up to your title. At the very least, I can risk my life in exchange. When I made the choice, I didn't think much. I made the choice, so I feel that I am lucky. So today, I'm still making a choice. I've chosen my family. So, let the drought come, let the locusts come. I'm ready. For my family, for my family. Why do I feel like what you said today doesn't sound like you? You should always maintain that kind of calmness. Even when exchanging hostages, you still have a smile on your face. Wang Huan tilted her head and looked at Zhong Xiaobao. Is it the truth or a lie? Let's listen to the lie first. Wang Huan smiled. I want to comfort you and tell you not to think so much, so I'm going to argue more. What about the truth? I'm the same as you. I'm also conflicted. I'm waiting for others to be sad so that I can find an opportunity. This is the determination I made when I came here and heard Grandpa's words. I'm also struggling. Is the happiness of a few people more important, or the happiness of hundreds of thousands or even millions of people more important? But one person is also one of these people. Dictatorship or truth? Bruno was burned to death. When Zhong Xiaobao said these words, his brows were constantly frowning. Wang Huan was also thinking about this kind of too profound thing. Little Gongzi, I caught a fish. I'll make soup for you. At this time, a child who was playing in the water ran over. He tried to hold a fish with both hands. The fish was still swaying, trying to break free. Thank you. Zhong Xiaobao opened his eyes and looked at the child in front of him who was 6 or 7 years older than him. Little Gongzi, what did you say? The child was stunned for a moment. He put the fish on a straw stick by the shore and put it on the ground. Nothing. You go and play. Zhong Xiaobao smiled. Okay, I'm going to play. Little Gongzi, this fish has a lot of bones. You and Cuckoo have to be careful when you eat. The child ran to the pond again and turned back to tell the fish had a lot of bones. I understand. I'll be good to whoever is good to me. Zhong Xiaobao and Wang Huan said in unison. You don't need to say any more. I know all these, but I can't do that. How can I deliberately hurt people who are good to me? In the courtyard of the GE family's main house in Zhuangzi, Ji Yingxi said to the housekeeper who was persuading him. Housekeeper GE found that the rice of the Zhong family and the Wang family was not inserted into the ground. Instead, they were casually thrown into the ground. He felt that if he planted them like this, the harvest would be poor, so he asked the head of the family, Ji Yingxi, to report it to the Yamen. At first, Ji Yingxi tried to persuade the housekeeper, but in the end, he became impatient and said what he thought. Yes, the other party gave him the water. Last time, he tried to hurt the other party but failed. County Magistrate Cheng had a good relationship with the Zhong family, so how could the other party not know? But at the critical moment, before he could say anything, the other party said, it's just water. Take it and use it. The other party said it casually and gave him the water casually, but Ji Yingxi knew that the other party didn't give him water, but a life. At this time, he didn't want to make trouble for the other party. Even if he wanted to, he didn't dare to. If the villagers of Ji Jiao village knew about this, what would the consequences be? Master, I think this is the last chance. If you miss it this time, you won't have another chance in the future. Those two Zhuangzi are evil. It's not impossible to make a Zhuangzi good, but it won't be so fast. How long has it been? Look at the life on Zhuangzi, it seems to change every day. I'm guessing that there must be a monstrous expert behind them. If we don't act now, our manna will be finished. Old master, think about it carefully, don't you agree? The steward was still trying to persuade him. Bullshit. What future? If they want to destroy your village, do they need a future? It's fine as long as the water is cut off. Do you dare to steal the water? They have already put the water into the pond, but the river doesn't flow past Zhuangzi. It flows directly into the river under the bridge. Tell me, do you dare to bring people to steal the water? If you dare, I will go to the prefecture and report him. Tell me, do you dare? Ji Yingxi stared into housekeeper Ji's eyes and asked. Master, I don't dare. He has 2 people from Zhuangzi. We only have 1 Zhuangzi. We are much worse. Housekeeper Ji shook his head. Then I will find you some people who are similar to them. Do you dare? Ji Yingxi asked again. Housekeeper Ji shook his head again. This time, he shook his head even more. I don't dare. We can't beat those 2 people from Zhuangzi. Those villagers have long worshipped the master like a god. Our people's hearts are about to fall apart. Not to mention other things, as long as those villagers wear the same clothes as the 15th day of the first month and stand there, our villagers won't dare to take a step forward. That's right. Those 2 people from Zhuangzi are on the same boat. On the 15th day, the master made so many torches. Didn't they say that they want to light up the night sky? The county magistrate is one of their people and the villagers are loyal. You want me to report him? Am I looking for death? Do you think you can just go to the prefecture? What kind of person is Zhu Shihu? His uncle is a 6th-rank official in the prefecture. He helps the provincial governor deal with things. I don't understand. Why do you have to treat him as an opponent? Why do you want him to collapse? You were the one who came up with the idea last time. What happened in the end? Now that you know there is a master in charge, don't find trouble with him. Ji Yingxi really had no other choice. He could only use this method to dispel the housekeeper's jealousy. He already felt that the other party had never treated him as an opponent. They were not even on the same level. Not to mention other things, just look at Saigo in the past and look at the current Saigo. He really chose people accurately. He didn't find anything good about Saigo in the past. He sold him for 1 tael of silver. Now, even if he had 1,000 taels of silver, he still wouldn't be able to buy him back. He wanted to buy people, but the other party changed his heart. He gave away 100 taels of silver just like that. Ji Yingxi didn't dare to think about it anymore. He said to the housekeeper, "Let's go. Come with me." "Master, where are you going?" The housekeeper asked doubtfully. "Where else can I go?" "Of course, I am going to the Wang family's Zhuangzi." Put away your little thoughts. If it wasn't for the fact that several generations of your family have been the housekeepers of Zhuangzi, I would really suspect that you want to destroy Zhuangzi. Look at the housekeepers of the Zhong family and Wang family. Look at the people in the inner courtyard. Ji Yingxi didn't dare to compare anymore. The Zhuangzi couldn't be compared to the other party. The housekeeper was also the same. He, as the master of the house, was not much better. Housekeeper Ji was also afraid now. He was afraid that if he was kicked out by the master, not only would he lose his position, but he would also be angered to death by his father. Then master, what are we going to do? Nothing. We can just chat. I remember that last time, they asked me to set up the market together. Today, we will go and take a look. If they still agree, then the GE family will also be part of it. I just realized that as long as we follow them, there will be no problems. Those 6 ponds were built before the drought. Also, the wells were dug long ago. I am now wondering if the person behind those 2 Zhuangzi is Zhuge Zaishe. Ji Yingxi said helplessly as he stood up and walked out. The 2 of them crossed the bridge and arrived at the Wang family's Zhuangzi. Housekeeper Wang appeared again as if he knew they were coming. Village Mayor Ge, Housekeeper Ge, the 2 of you are here. Did something happen to the water? Housekeeper Wang asked sincerely. No, I am asking if the market can still be added to it. Housekeeper Ge said. This can't be, but there is another market that can be operated jointly with the Ge family. Housekeeper Wang first refused, then changed the topic and proposed a new matter. Chapter 84. Ji Yingxi and Steward Ji were shocked when they heard Steward Wang's words. They thought that they would never get another chance. Who knew that Steward Wang would say that there were other aspects? What aspects? Steward Ji asked anxiously. This made Ji Yingxi disappointed once again. There was no comparison between two housekeepers. Housekeeper Wang didn't seem to be like this in the past. Why did he seem to have become a different person in just a few months? Ji Yingxi did not know that this was because of economic power. Back then, the Zhong family, Wang family, and Ji family were about the same, so they all stood in the same position. Now, it was different. Zhong family and Wang family were rich, so of course, their attitude would change. Steward Wang did not care about the Ji family's urgent question. He slowly said, "There is a river between our two families. The downstream of the river suddenly becomes flat. The main family of Zhong family and Wang family wants to build a restaurant there. It will have 2 floors and it will be empty inside, so you can see the water. We will find some people to drink and write poems there. If the Ji family is interested in joining, then pay a share. When the time comes, we will earn a share. It is just right that there is a drought now, so it will be easier to build a restaurant. What if we lose money?" Steward Ji was straightforward. Without waiting for Steward Wang to speak, Ji Yingxi said, "Of course we will lose money together. Steward Wang, I don't know when the restaurant will be built. When the time comes, you must include my share." Ji Yingxi finally did not dare to go against Zhong family and Wang family. Now that there was an opportunity, he felt that even if he did not make money or even lost a little, it would be worth it if he could build a relationship with the two Zhuangzi. "Okay, don't worry. When the spring plowing is over, when the construction starts, we will not leave the Ji family behind. After all, it is safer for the 3 families to work together." Steward Wang's answer was very appropriate. After that, he saw that the 2 people had no intention of leaving, so he continued to invite them. "Village Mayor Ji, Steward Ji, why don't you go to the pond over there to take a look? I don't know how long this drought will last." "That's good." Ji Yingxi agreed without even thinking about it. He really wanted to go and take a look. After all, the water from the Zhong family and Wang family was carried in large wooden buckets or jars. He would be worried if he didn't take a look. It would be best if the buckets were always full. That way, even if there was still a drought in summer and autumn, he wouldn't have to worry. The 3 of them walked towards a pond. Along the way, they saw Ji family's Zhuangzi farmers transporting water. Not only water for watering the fields, but also water for cooking. The well in Ji family's Zhuangzi had not been dug yet. Standing beside a pond, Ji Yingxi finally felt relieved. The pond was still full. Although there was less water in the river, it was still flowing. When there was no more water, they would have to rely on the well water. After chatting for a while, Ji Yingxi said goodbye to Steward Ji and left. He had put down his worries. This time, there was a partnership. He thought that if anything happened in the future, the Zhong family and the Wang family would think about him. Zhong Xiaobao and Wang Huan were still standing by the river and watching the farmers busying themselves. The 2 of them realized that the number of loach fish in the river was extraordinary. If there were only 1 or 2 loach fish, it would be fine. But with so many loach fish, if they didn't catch them to eat, they would probably die in the mud. It was really a pity. How do we catch them? Wang Huan looked eager to try. Let others help catch them. Watch me. Zhong Xiaobao looked at the children playing in the pond and shouted loudly, "Come over here. It's time to catch loach." A child's voice had a strong penetrating power. As soon as he shouted, those children climbed out of the pond one after another and ran over. "Help me catch loach. I'll use tofu in exchange. 10 loach for 1 big piece of tofu. When we get home, you can eat loach drill tofu. Catch 20 loach and I'll exchange it for 1 tael of vegetable oil. Now, everything is ready. Do you want to do it?" At this time, Zhong Xiaobao abandoned his identity as a young master and started to discuss with the children. The children originally had nothing to do, so they all went to play in the water. When they heard that they could exchange for so many things, one by one, they all jumped into the river. They didn't care that the mud was already up to their calves. One by one, they grabbed the mud and threw it out one by one. Those who threw it counted by themselves. At this time, no one lied and cheated. From time to time, a child would jump out of the mud, shouting as he used his hands to slap his leg. There was a leech biting on his leg, and after a few slaps, the leech would shrink out of the person's body and curl up into a ball. Some of the children were very vengeful. They found a small wooden stick and rubbed the leech twice on the ground. Then, they used the stick to poke the leech's head. The whole leech would flip from the inside out. Then, they stuck the stick on the shore and let the sun dry it. When it dried, the leech would die. It wouldn't live even if it was put in the water. So this is how they kill leeches. Wang Huan looked at the increasing number of sticks on the shore. She felt that these children were too fierce. She wasn't afraid, but she never did such things. Yes, this is considered slow. In the past, I would catch leeches and put them on the railway. Once the train passed, nothing would be left. If I didn't put the leeches, I would find a nail and put it there. When the train passed, the nail would become Xiaobao's sword. Zhong Xiaobao recalled the days when he was a vagrant. Back then, he followed the other children and learned many things. Actually, if you sprinkle some salt, the leeches will naturally shrink together. Wang Huan felt that this method of slapping would hurt the children. She wanted Zhong Xiaobao to call someone back to get the salt. Zhong Xiaobao didn't move at all. Even if you bring the salt, they will still use their hands to slap the leeches. It's not that the salt is expensive, but they feel that hitting the leeches with their hands is the most reliable method. This is the attacking consciousness. It can also be placed together with the controlling consciousness. For example, Wang Huan asked, children like to play with guns since young. If they don't have a gun, they will play with it. If they put a gun and a knife together, most children will choose the gun. Guns give them a sense of security and can be used to attack from a distance. It's the same for remote-controlled cars. There are some that have wires, and some that are wireless. Most of them choose the wireless. Even if the wires can be 100 meters long, the wireless control range is 50 meters. This is because the wireless control is more flexible and there are no worries. This is the safest way. And this sense of security is controlled by the person playing with it. They can attack and retreat as they wish. Zhong Xiaobao gave an example. I understand now. For example, when I was in school, the boys liked to play the road and the sea game. They drew two big traps together. The innermost one is the land, the middle one is the sea, and the outer one is the sky. They would play rock paper scissors to choose. Many children would choose the sky. The last one they want to choose is the sea. It's like that. I remember the last time we had people patrolling in the middle of the night and lighting up lights. But I feel that it's not enough. When there are more servants in the future, I want to divide them into open sentries, hidden sentries, fixed sentries, and mobile sentries. That way, the whole of Zhuangzi will be safer. Those who sleep better and those who keep watch better. Wang Huan talked about the future security work. At this time, the children were almost done catching. They climbed up one after another and used branches to string up the loaches that everyone had thrown on the shore. They placed them in front of Zhong Xiaobao and Wang Huan. Everyone began to report how many loaches they had caught. Zhong Xiaobao and Wang Huan didn't count them. They directly asked people to go back and get tofu and vegetable oil. With so many loaches, they could make several dishes that could last for 2 to 3 days. After the children exchanged for the items, they happily ran back to their own homes. They put the items away and came back again. This time, they jumped into the water again to eat the loaches and tofu for their own home. Wang Huan and Zhong Xiaobao also began to walk back. Naturally, there were people helping to carry the loaches. Even if the two of them could carry them, others wouldn't let them. As soon as the two of them entered the courtyard, they saw Song Jinggong, who wasn't supposed to come back today, waiting there. Little young master, it's not good. Someone is buying a lot of soybeans. After I got my share from Jushihu today, I wanted to buy some soybeans. But when I went to a few grain stores, they said that they were all sold out. I didn't believe it and went to take a look. The shop assistant told me that some people came to the store and directly asked how many soybeans there were. As long as there were soybeans, no matter how much they were, they would buy them all. I walked around for half a day and didn't buy a gin of soybeans. Our vegetable oil depends on soybeans. Now, all the soybeans in the county have probably been bought by those people. They are waiting for the next shipment. Then, the price won't be as low as it is now. I think that someone has found out that our vegetable oil is made from soybeans. As soon as Song Jinggong saw Zhong Xiaobao, he said the matter with an anxious expression. Zhong Xiaobao thought for a while and said, "The vegetable oil has a kind of bin smell. If we keep buying soybeans, people will understand. I think these people are targeting us. But we have already stopped selling the vegetable oil. Why did those people only start now? Is it because of the drought? Maybe. They want to stockpile the soybeans and wait for the price of soybeans to rise. Then, they will find us to sell them. That way, they will make a lot of money. But I always feel that this matter is not so simple." Intuition. Wang Huan helped to analyze. "What have we done recently? Don't be in a hurry. Let's go back to the house and make a list. Let's see our main income and new output during this period. We will make a judgment when the time comes." Zhong Xiaobao couldn't figure out what those people were thinking. If they want to buy soybeans, then so be it. At most, they won't sell soybean oil. They don't know how to make soybean oil with soybeans. Generally, rapeseed oil is made from frying, and so is meat oil. Song Jinggong went to find a place to rest. Zhong Xiaobao and Wang Huan went back to the house and began to calculate the main source of income during this period. After calculating, they found that there wasn't much difference from before. Then, what was left was the new output. Chapter 85. Xiaobao, I've checked. Our old businesses haven't changed at all recently. From this, I'm guessing that the new businesses have affected others. So now, there are only 3 new businesses. The Tsuyuan Plo is new, but it's not under our management, so we exclude it. The fungus is not in business yet, so we exclude it. Eggs, the hens have just laid eggs, and there are quite a lot of new eggs. Now, they are all sold to the people we have supported. At the same time, the people selling the pancakes are also helping us to buy soybeans. I estimate that our egg business is in conflict with other people's egg business. They may have estimated the number of hens we have by looking at the number of eggs and feel that we are a threat to them. So, they are buying soybeans and destroying one of our businesses as a warning. It is also in line with the current profit plan of the drought. At this time, Wang Huan no longer looked like a child. She stood there with her chest out and her eyes shining. Even the tone of her voice was different. Zhong Xiaobao looked at Wang Huan with admiration and nodded. This is the temperament of a major case-handling department. China's overlord flower should have. Precise and capable. I am talking to you about serious matters. Be more serious. Wang Huan's eyes widened. When she saw Zhong Xiaobao's childish appearance, she suddenly laughed. She walked up to Zhong Xiaobao and reached out to pinch his face, moving it up and down, left and right. Why do you look so funny? Now it's your turn. I am done with my analysis. Hurry up, they are bullying us. Let me see how international swindlers play. Hearing Wang Huan's words, Zhong Xiaobao raised his arm to wipe off the saliva on the corner of his mouth that was pinched by Wang Huan. He used his head to break free from Wang Huan's hand and smiled contemptuously. Buying soybeans? Good. I guess it is useless even if I send people to other counties to buy soybeans. These people are killing 2 birds with 1 stone. The price of soybeans will increase during the drought, and they can also destroy one of our businesses. Don't they have money? I'll ask him to buy it. Pomegranate, come in. I have something for you to do. Young master, are you looking for me? Pomegranate heard Zhong Xiaobao calling from behind. She came in from outside and waited for instructions. Well, I'll teach you how to make something delicious. Some people call it liangpi, while others call it mianpi. We call it liangpi. Mianpi is too easy to guess. You can tell at a glance that it's made of noodles. Noodles are good. Not only can you make liangpi, but you can also make starch without further processing. Who said that only corn and sweet potatoes can make starch? Zhong Xiaobao pointed a finger at his own face and said with a smile. Those who knew him before knew that Zhong Xiaobao was terrifying at this time. Someone was definitely going to be unlucky, and it was not a simple kind of unlucky. If things went wrong, that person would die. Pomegranate did not know that Zhong Xiaobao had this habit. She only felt that the young master now looked better. He could dress up a little and be treated like a girl. Young master, tell me what to do. I don't need to take care of the black fungus often. I just need to look at it a few times a day. How do you make liangpi? Well, I'll tell you what to do. Take 5 kilograms of white flour, a few big empty basins, and a few buckets of water. Erniu is back, right? Call him over for me. Zhong Xiaobao's finger kept pointing at his face as he spoke. Pomegranate resisted the urge to kiss the young master and turned around to leave. After a while, everything was prepared. Erniu also came in at this time. Young master, you called for me? Yes. Do you still have the chili pepper seedlings? Zhong Xiaobao asked. Young master, last year's chili pepper seedlings are gone. This year's chili pepper seedlings are already out. Everyone is busy with the spring plowing. Only a few children helped me pick some. Young master, do you want this thing? Erniu quickly said. Yes, when you go back, use vegetable oil to fry the chili pepper seedlings for me. Once the chili pepper seedlings are fried, throw some more into the oil and fry them. When you taste the oil and feel that it's spicy enough to drink water, stop. First, fry 20 liters of oil for me. Zhong Xiaobao instructed Erniu. Erniu nodded and turned around to leave. He still had to pick more chili pepper seedlings, otherwise it would not be enough. Zhong Xiaobao looked at Pomegranate who was waiting there. Knead the flour into dough. This is the first step. Pomegranate did not ask more. She poured some water and began to knead the dough. After a while, the dough was done. Zhong Xiaobao nodded and said, now let's go and see the wood ear. Last time, we picked 30 catties. We had to give 20 catties to the Yamen, but they asked for 10 catties. How many do we have now? It's still the same. The new wood ear hasn't grown yet. It will take a few more days. This time, we have more. I estimate that we can produce more than 300 catties at a time. Pomegranate was happy when she mentioned the wood ear. She did not expect that such a precious wood ear would be grown by her own hands. Unfortunately, she could not tell others how she grew it. This secret was only known by 3 people until now. So many. Okay, fry some for dinner. Add carrots and stir-fry meat slices. It's a pity that we don't have fresh cucumbers. Let's get some dried cucumbers and soak them in. Zhong Xiaobao smacked his lips. He was hungry. He had not eaten any wood ear until now. Wang Huan also nodded. The 3 of them went to the place where the wood ear was planted to look. It was not bad. Some wood ear had grown on the wood, but they were too small. They would be ready in 2 days. This thing grew quickly. After walking around outside, the 3 of them returned to the house. This time, the dough was much better than before. Put water in this basin and then knead. When the water turns white, stop. Zhong Xiaobao instructed Pomegranate to carry out the next step. Pomegranate did not understand why the dough was so good. She did not think about it. She took the water and did as Zhong Xiaobao said. After kneading this time, she changed the water and continued kneading. After kneading a few times, the water no longer changed color. Then she stopped. Zhong Xiaobao continued to instruct Pomegranate to pour the water into a basin and put it in a place where no one could touch it. He began to deal with the rest of the things that could not be kneaded. He put them into the pot and steamed them. After steaming, he took them out. Wang Huan said first, "This is the gluten." "I know. Where is the dough skin?" "You kneaded it until it is gone. It's all in the water. You can get the starch out by drying it now. You can make vermicelli. I don't know the specific steps. Let's make the dough skin tomorrow morning." The night passed. The next morning, Pomegranate came over and poured away the top of the water in the basin, leaving the bottom. Then she took out a thin iron pan and began to pour the sticky stuff into it. After pouring a layer, she put it in the pot of boiling water. She took it out and put it in the cold water. She gently uncovered it and a sheet of liangpi came out. Pomegranate continued to work very quickly. When a pile of liangpi was done, Ernu also brought over 20 kilograms of chili oil. Ernu, don't go yet. Eat some together. You have never eaten this before. Zhong Xiaobao called out to Ernu, who was about to leave. He taught Pomegranate how to mix the liangpi. Vinegar, salt, garlic, chili oil, these were enough. In fact, Zhong Xiaobao liked to eat the kind with cold noodle soup. Add some sugar in mine. I don't like to eat things that are too sour. Add some coriander and cucumber. Forget it, we don't have any now. Wang Huan adjusted her taste. In less than 15 minutes, 4 servings of liangpi were done. Ernu had the most, Zhong Xiaobao and Wang Huan had the least. Zhong Xiaobao also added some sesame paste for Pomegranate. Pomegranate had always liked this. The 4 people began to eat. After a few mouthfuls, Ernu said first, "It's delicious. Little young master's food is really different. It's so spicy. Who asked you to put so much chili oil? You deserve it." Pomegranate was still thinking about Ernu, who put so much chili oil just now. If you have shredded cucumber, you can use fruits to cook the cold noodle soup. Even if it's spicy, you can drink the soup. In fact, the soup is also spicy. It's just that it's cold, so you can't feel it. The more spicy it is, the more you want to eat it. Zhong Xiaobao had a deep understanding of this. Wang Huan also nodded with half of the dough in her mouth. "Little young master, the dough doesn't need so much chili oil." Pomegranate reminded. "Who said that? Call Xiao Hong and cherries over tonight. The 3 of you will make 300 catties of dough and send it to those who make Chinese crepes. Sell it for 3 copper coins per serving. Leave half for them and the rest for us. At the same time, let them exchange the dough for white flour." Zhong Xiaobao put down his chopsticks and stuck out his tongue. It was spicy. He said to Pomegranate. On the morning of the 3rd day, all the dough was ready. Zhong Xiaobao also cooked some cold noodle soup. In order to enhance the taste, he poured a bowl of yellow wine into each big bowl of cold noodle soup and asked someone to send it to Sanshui County. "What's your purpose for doing this?" Wang Huan still couldn't figure out what Zhong Xiaobao wanted to do. Of course, it's to have a new source of income. Can't they buy it? Do they want to buy it? If they do, I will make seafood and boiled rice. Do they want to buy rice? Zhong Xiaobao explained to Wang Huan. There was no need to say anything else. Chapter 86. After the fruit pancake, liangpi became popular again, but the supply of vegetable oil was stopped. "My lord, please try it. I just realized that eating the hot jianbing fruit and the refreshing liangpi together is so delicious. You can eat both for only 5 copper coins. It's so cheap. After eating both, you'll be full immediately." The Yamen runner who often went to Zhangjiao Zhuangzi was holding the steaming hot fruit pancake in one hand and a basin in the other. There was a deposit for the basin. If he didn't send it back, the deposit would be gone. He handed the basin to County Magistrate Cheng and praised it. "Liangpi? When did this liangpi appear? Isn't it fruit pancake? What is it made of? It's even transparent." County Magistrate Cheng put down the brush in his hand and looked at the new thing. He asked curiously. He was no longer afraid of being investigated by the higher-ups for the drought. With so many places experiencing drought, it was impossible for humans to handle. Therefore, he wouldn't be punished by the higher-ups. Of course, he didn't say that. It was a provincial governor of a certain province who said that. If it were him, he wouldn't dare to say that. After all, he had the Zhong family and the Wang family. These 2 Zhuangzi couldn't be judged by common sense. Anything could happen there. What did he mean by impossible? It was because he didn't prepare well. Zhangjia Zhuangzi was also experiencing drought, but the other 3 Zhuangzi didn't have any delays. County Magistrate Cheng didn't know what the expert in Zhuangzi couldn't calculate. He could make money from all kinds of things. If the previous transactions were legitimate businesses, Then what about fungus? Could fungus be planted? With this ability, he could probably plant a group of people just by burying one person. The most puzzling thing was, how did they know that there would be a drought? How did they prepare for it? If they had known before, they would have gone to ask that expert for advice. If they had prepared earlier, the county would not be in such a state. Sir, eat it while it's hot. Take a bite of the fruit pancake and a bite of the liang pea. I ate it like that just now. Unfortunately, I ate it in a hurry and can't eat it now. The Yarman runner saw that the county magistrate didn't respond and called out again. Oh, okay, I'll eat it. Sigh, this liang pea is so delicious. If I add some cucumber, the taste. County Magistrate Cheng tasted a bite of the liang pea. It wasn't very spicy. He didn't know that it was slightly spicy. The Yarman runner smiled and said, Sir, you're right. The person who sold the liang pea also said that the people in Zhuangzi were thinking the same. They don't have any cucumber now. Just now, I met the person who gave the liang pea to Zhongjia Zhuangzi. He said that there aren't many vegetables left in Zhuangzi. Other than radishes, carrots, and garlic sprouts, there are only fungus left. They have been eating fungus for the past 2 days. County Magistrate Cheng looked at the Yarman runner's expression and knew what he was thinking. He said, Zhongjia Zhuangzi will be your place in the future. Don't always treat Zhongjia Zhuangzi the same way you treat normal Zhuangzi. It's different there. There's probably only one such person in the whole Tang Empire. Keep your mouth shut. Don't say what you shouldn't say and ask what you shouldn't ask, understand? Understood. Don't listen to what you shouldn't hear. I understand. The master behind the Zhong family's farmstead, a powerful figure, can kill me as easily as killing an ant. Moreover, I don't even know who killed me. The Yarman runner understood the situation and made a promise. It's not that scary. You don't even know who killed him. You should keep an eye on the other Yarman runners. I don't care if there are 1 or 2 more people in prison. County Magistrate Cheng decided to protect Zhongjia Zhuangzi. He felt that Zhuangzi was mysterious. Yes, I will pay attention to this. In fact, our brothers have all benefited from Zhongjia Zhuangzi. No one will say anything. Otherwise, we won't spare him even if you don't do anything. But sir, Zhongjia Zhuangzi really killed someone. That person doesn't even know who killed him. The Yarman runner promised again. At the same time, he wanted to remind the county magistrate. Why do you say so? County Magistrate Cheng swallowed a mouthful of Chinese crepe and felt a little puzzled. Sir, do you know why the prefectures gave all the credit to you this time? It's because the other prefectures and counties reported to you. Do you know why they reported to you? The Yarman runner tried hard to control his voice and not let it tremble. Why? What other reason could it be? Zhongjia Zhuangzi sent 3 people to the surrounding prefectures and counties to spread the news about how good you are. They told everyone about all the good things you did. They also spread the news about the curved yuan plow. I know someone in the other counties and happened to see it. When he mentioned it, I remembered that the leader was Erniu from Zhongjia Zhuangzi. The Yarman runner finally couldn't control his voice and trembled as he spoke. What? All of this was done by Zhongjia Zhuangzi behind the scenes? County Magistrate Cheng couldn't hold the Chinese crepe anymore and it fell onto the table. He was stunned and didn't say anything for a long time. Cheng Lingxiang didn't expect that Zhongjia Zhuangzi would be so fast and nimble. When he thought of all that Zhongjia Zhuangzi had done for him, he felt like crying. He had long regarded the 2 masters as his masters. They always helped and protected him in every way. When his credit was stolen, they could turn the situation around with a clever move. If they insisted that they wanted to use the little bit of food he left behind, he wouldn't believe it. Why would they care about a mere county magistrate with such means? The deputy county magistrate quickly changed his words. At this moment, he understood that the county magistrate wanted to be their teacher. County Magistrate Cheng waved his hand and said, "Let's not talk about this. Let's talk about how we can give Zhongjia Zhuangzi more benefits." Benefits? The benefits are just some taxes. With Zhongjia Zhuangzi's ability to do business, He won't care about these. Sir, why don't you ask Chen Dong to go and ask what Zhangjia Zhuangzi needs? We will think of a way then. The deputy county magistrate had no other choice. Zhangjia Zhuangzi seemed to have no other desires except to keep the food. However, the county magistrate could not suppress the food. Moreover, Zhangjia Zhuangzi already had a plan to deal with it. He could not help even if he wanted to. Then what should we do? How about this, for the next few days, arrange for people to guard every grain store. If anyone dares to buy all of the flour again, arrest them and interrogate them. How dare they hoard in the middle of a great disaster? What are they thinking? County Magistrate Cheng's words confirmed the grain issue. That's good. Even if they offend someone more powerful, that person won't dare to say anything. Our emperor's new policy will not tolerate such things. The deputy county magistrate echoed. Chapter 87. Once Sanshui County's ready-made liangpi was introduced, those people who wanted to buy soybeans didn't dare to continue. They continued to buy the white flour, neither too much nor too little. Because of the addition of liangpi, the jianbing fruit sold even better. One hot and one cold, when eaten together, would cost 5 copper coins. If they ate these things in the past, 5 copper coins would be too expensive. However, in the county, 5 copper coins was only the price of a bowl of noodles at a noodle house. Whether it was the taste or the quantity, it couldn't compare to a jianbing fruit and liangpi. All of a sudden, the two kinds of food in Sanshui County were selling like hotcakes. Many people from neighboring counties came to taste them. There were even more people who wanted to learn how to make them. However, they found that they could not make the spicy taste of the food in Sanshui County. The people chosen by County Magistrate Cheng were all from poor families. If they wanted to get this kind of raw material, they had to bring their household registration to the county government of Sanshui County. Naturally, they didn't care about the other counties. As the people said, you should go to whoever is your parent official. In this way, County Magistrate Cheng's reputation was even greater, even if the drought in Sanshui County was out of control. Xiao Bao, those people didn't do anything, Wang Huan said to Zhong Xiaobao with a little disappointment in Zhangjia Zhuangzi. That means they don't have a strong background. I know what to do. Tomorrow, we'll make all the tofu dregs into tofu and sell them in the surrounding counties. When we reach the counties, we'll make them again. 1 copper coin for 3 catties. Call Erniu over. This time, let him disguise himself and help me do something. Zhong Xiaobao first used the liangpi to warn those people, then he began to retaliate. No one had ever dared to make such a threat in front of him. Those who dared to threaten him prayed that they would never make any mistakes and would always maintain a high status. After Erniu came and left, everything returned to normal. Xiao Bao, you're too radical, Wang Huan said worriedly after listening to Zhong Xiaobao's instructions to Erniu. Then what should I do? It's just an organization that sells eggs without any backing. Do I need to back down? I can give in to Zhu Shihu. After all, his uncle is a 6th-rank official. If there is a provincial governor's son in this organization, so what if I give him all the chickens? This world is so realistic. If you don't have the ability, don't make a move. I want to seek stability, but that means I have to compromise with these people. The chickens we raise are not under our control. Do they really think that they are an underground family and can control everything? Without 6,000 chickens, how am I going to eat locusts? Zhong Xiaobao had no intention of forgiving those people. If those people had come to talk to him first, he might have taken a compromise. But those people actually wanted to buy soybeans. This was a threat, and a threat without the support of the government. 5 days later, the price of tofu in various places suddenly dropped. Zhangjia Zhuangzi took out all the bean cakes that were stored to feed livestock and specialized in making tofu. Other people's tofu cost 1 copper coin per kilogram. Tofu made from bean cakes cost 1 copper coin per kilogram, but tofu made from bean cakes cost 1 copper coin per kilogram. The tofu made from bean cakes did not taste good, but it was cheap. For a time, tofu was not easy to sell. The purchase of soybeans also decreased. The price of soybeans dropped a little. This was not a lot, but it was a big loss for those who bought in large quantities. At this time, Ernu also found his position. Soybeans originally cost 2 copper coins per kilogram. 1 kilogram of soybeans could make about 2 kilograms of tofu. At the same time, the couple also said that they did not have children. They usually ate soybeans and tofu, which was cheap. The county magistrate, Cheng Lingxiang, was furious. He immediately issued an arrest warrant for the person who sold soybeans. The whole prefecture and the neighboring prefectures were shocked. The price of soybeans plummeted. Ernu immediately offered to buy 5 kilograms of soybeans for 1 copper coin. There were also rumors that the soybeans in Feng Prefecture were like this, and that the soybeans in other places were fine. Moreover, it was the soybeans in the last 2 years that killed people. See? Because of your anger, the people here don't dare to eat soybeans anymore. How many people have you harmed by doing this? In Zhangjiao Zhuangzi, Wang Huan complained to Zhong Xiaobao. Zhong Xiaobao did not care. He still had a backup plan. He said to Wang Huan, "The power of public opinion is still very strong. When the time comes, we can just find an excuse to turn it around." Didn't those tofu sellers teach them to make dandan noodles? In the whole prefecture, how many tofu sellers are there in total? How did the old man die? Did you kill him? Wang Huan saw that Zhong Xiaobao had made arrangements, so she changed the topic and continued to ask. How could I kill him? How could I cause him to get tuberculosis? Didn't you hear what the people in the Yamen said? The old man kept vomiting blood. It was too late to beat Remy Feng. Zhong Xiaobao was really helpless. Wasn't it just a slightly inferior method? Who asked that time was tight? The business world was like a battlefield. What kind of methods could not be used? Then, how will you let people eat soybeans again in the future? Didn't I say that only the soybeans from last year and the year before can be eaten? The rest of the time is fine. Then what about the end of the family line? The woman of the couple is already pregnant. That's how I found it. When the time comes, I will say that someone deliberately spread rumors. Once the child is born, the rumors will be dispelled. Anyway, your method is not very honorable. I want to be honorable. It's not impossible. Do I have time? It's a drought. The higher-ups will send people to check the land so that they can reduce the land tax. They will be here soon. You are so reasonable. Wang Huan realized that she could not find fault in the details. She still felt uncomfortable. At least, many people would not be able to eat tofu during this period. I know what you are thinking. This is simple. We will pay for it and let County Magistrate Cheng say that he found those bad people in our province. He will burn them. Won't they be relieved then? Zhong Xiaobao continued to add. When Wang Huan heard that they were going to burn all the soybeans, she knew that this money was coming from her side. Her face was a little sad. It's a pity to burn all the soybeans. It will cost about 800 to 800 taels of silver, right? More or less, but it's not a pity. After the soybeans are burned, we will gather the ashes and make soy sauce. At most, we will sell more soy sauce in the future. In the past, Grandpa Principal used to make soy sauce. Back then, Grandpa used to fry the soybeans. He stir-fried the soybeans and turned them into powder. After adding salt, it became soy sauce. Zhong Xiaobao added again. We didn't eat that kind of soy sauce in the past, right? Wang Huan was a little doubtful. Yes, in the past, we couldn't even bear to put soybeans in it. We just put in the coloring. Think about it, the retail price is only 1 yuan per bag of soybeans. That bag is 1 catty. How much does soybeans cost per catty? How much does the better bottled soybeans cost? Look at what's in it. Then I won't eat soy sauce in the future. Wang Huan was really a little scared. How can you not eat it? There's so much to burn. You also need to consume some of it. The farmers will send it to each family. When the time comes, each family will be given 50 catties to try. Zhong Xiaobao said jokingly. A crisis that belonged to a quasi-family was finally over. Zhong Xiaobao had arranged everything. From the beginning to the end, there was no mistake. The people who bought the soybeans in Fengju were different. They found that the soybeans could no longer be sold. They wanted to transport them elsewhere, but the people there were already on guard. When they saw that the soybeans were from Fengju, they directly drove them away. The person who proposed to buy the soybeans now regretted it. He knew that all this was done by Zhengjia Zhuangzi. He wanted to refute, but found that the county magistrate of Sanshui County was actually behind Zhengjia Zhuangzi. He wanted to find other people in Fengju, but those people couldn't wait to hide. What should we do? We can't even sell 10 catties of soybeans for 1 yuan. The people here don't eat them. The people who originally sold tofu have changed to selling that called dan dan noodles. The money they earn every day is actually more than selling tofu. A person in this temporarily united organization was the first to complain. He couldn't afford to waste time and was prepared to sell the soybeans at a high price during the drought. Now, he didn't want anything. How Zhuge, can you not say such discouraging words? If we can't sell the soybeans, we can make them into dried tofu and transport them away. Who will be able to find out? Another person was a little dissatisfied with the previous person's depressed look and proposed a new idea. When the others heard this, their eyes lit up. They felt that this idea was feasible. Chapter 88. While these people were thinking about how long it would take to make so many soybeans into dried tofu, the dispute between Wang Huan and Zhong Xiaobao was not over yet. The reason was that Wang Huan wanted to eat tofu. She wanted to invite the farmers in Zhuangzi to eat tofu as well. She and Zhong Xiaobao had so many soybeans. Even if the tofu they made was not as good, it was still edible. In the end, although the villagers ate it, it was as though they had eaten poison. They felt like they were sacrificing themselves. When Wang Huan was moved, she felt that if her villagers were like this, then what about the people in the prefecture? How long would it take to correct the soybeans? At first, Zhong Xiaobao did not think much of it. Later, he realized that there was not much to eat at this time of the year. It was good to be able to eat some soy products. It could be considered as continuing to make up for the mistakes he made when attacking the enemy. Zhong Xiaobao sold all the black fungus to other provinces. After he got the money, he bought soybeans from those provinces. Since he was the one who started the rumor and decided to take responsibility, he could only use this method. I didn't expect you to be so soft-hearted. Actually, I also admit that your way of doing things is not wrong. Isn't it just some people who can't eat soy products? How many people have cheated an entire country and countless people for their own sake? In the end, everyone still praises them. Tell me, why are you soft-hearted again? Wang Huan saw Zhong Xiaobao's quick actions and how he could make money in the process of making up for his mistakes. She said to Zhong Xiaobao in admiration, I have never been that kind of heartless person. Some things are an exception. For example, I know about those people who touched the funds of the orphanage. You were really smart. You bought a large amount of soybeans at once, and the price was lowered by you. The most amazing thing was that you sold the wood ears to those who had soybeans and asked them to bargain before you gave them the money. This time, we actually made more than 400 taels of silver. Wang Huan did not wait for Zhong Xiaobao to finish and continued his words. Zhong Xiaobao didn't have anything else to say. Originally, according to his method of operation, he could have earned an extra 1,000 taels of silver. That black fungus would definitely have helped him achieve his goal. He didn't expect that he would have to lose 600 taels of silver just to make up for it in advance. In fact, if he had taken action a few days later, he would have been able to solve this problem. Who asked the farmer to reveal an expression as if he was unafraid of death when he was taking advantage of the tofu? Why? Are you regretting it? Wang Huan asked with a smile. There's no such thing as regret in life. Do the villagers have any mental illness? I didn't expect the people of this era to have such a strong belief in this kind of thing. No, the main family has sent people to check on them. They are fine, and some even cried for those who didn't believe the main family at that time. This is really good, we know what kind of people the farmers are. Now I'm not jealous of Napoleon. Why don't you let me handle the new soybean? Wang Huan was touched when she thought of how the farmers were taking advantage of the tofu that day. They all thought that tofu would kill people, but they still ate it. She would treat them better in the future. Don't do it. I know that you want to make those beans into finished products and sell them. That won't do. Just sell them to those who used to make tofu at a normal price. If someone doesn't want to make bin products anymore and wants to make money from dan dan noodles, there's no need to rush. The number of merchants depends on the demand of the market. Zhong Xiaobao knew what Wang Huan was thinking when he saw her expression. He immediately rejected the idea. You're really a good person. Wang Huan's smile became even brighter. What good person? That's derogatory. I can only say that I'm not a bad person. The soybeans will be delivered tomorrow, and then everything will be fine. No, I can't let people who provoke me go so easily. Zhong Xiaobao mentioned those people again. You still don't want to let them go? You've affected a lot of people. Wang Huan felt that the current Zhong Xiaobao was a little scary. He was too persistent. I'll take responsibility for the people who were affected by me. I'll make it up to them. But what about them? At least I don't have the idea of making money from a national disaster. They think that they're smart and have calculated a lot of things. I don't represent justice, but I represent myself to take revenge. That's fine, right? The more Zhong Xiaobao thought about this matter, the more frustrated he felt. He didn't expect that the rumors from back then could cause such a big impact. Psychology seemed to be limited by the era. After going around in circles, he couldn't get over his conscience. He couldn't even hold on for a few days. He clearly knew that everything would be solved after a few days, but he still sold the fungus. Wang Huan took out a handful of meat floss from nowhere and handed it to Zhong Xiaobao. Then have you thought of how to take revenge? Will you do it yourself, or will you let County Magistrate Cheng do it? It's not bad. What are you smelling? Could it be that you were infected by the farmers when they were eating tofu? No, I won't do it this time. I'm still young. It's not suitable for County Magistrate Cheng to do it. He's under too much pressure. Let the provincial government do it. There are so many soybeans. If they want to get them out, they'll have to turn them into finished products. I think they're doing it now. It's a good opportunity to get something on them. Zhong Xiaobao said with the meat floss in his mouth. Then how do you want the provincial government to do it? Wang Huan smiled and stuffed another handful of meat floss into Zhong Xiaobao's mouth. Give them benefits. What else can we do? We just need to create an auspicious sign. Auspicious sign? What do you want to plant this time? What's the use of planting during a drought? What do you need during a drought? Water. As long as there's water coming out of a dry well, it's an auspicious sign. Tomorrow, get someone to check and see if there's a dry well in this county. You can plant some yarrow yarrow. Zhong Xiaobao was now determined to deal with those people no matter what. As long as the soybeans were investigated and they were locked up for 2 days, they would definitely spend a lot of money. Wang Huan understood. Zhong Xiaobao was preparing to blow up the wells. Many dry wells could continue to produce water after digging a little. She nodded and said, "All right, I'll leave it to you." "All right, leave the matter of the fertilizer to me. Actually, I'm quite angry as well. We raised some chickens just to help them eat some locusts and let the villagers live a better life. In the end, they came looking for us. Sometimes, the beginning and the end of a battle are not something you can control. Since they came to fight, then let's fight to the end." 2 days later, clear water suddenly came out of a dry well in Sanshui County. At the same time, there was a loud noise in the middle of the night. The people who woke up in the morning found the place where the noise came from yesterday and saw that the dry well that had been dry for 30 years was producing water. This news quickly spread in the county. County Magistrate Cheng even wrote a memorial, claiming that this was an auspicious sign from the heavens after the people in the county got rid of those people who hid the soybeans. He also pointed out the possible hiding places of those people. When the people in the county saw that there was an auspicious sign and the county magistrate directly sent this merit to the higher-ups, they immediately sent people to search for the locations that County Magistrate Cheng pointed out. In just half a day, those people who hid the soybeans and their people were found. The people sent by the county didn't care how much these people wanted to bribe and directly arrested them. They listed a lot of crimes, such as hoarding during a major disaster, wanting to make poisonous soybeans into dried tofu and sell it to harm people, etc. Among those who were arrested, there were even people who were willing to pay 3,000 taels of silver to protect themselves. The arresters didn't even want to take the money. What was the situation now? It was a drought. At this time, there was actually water coming out of a dry well that had been dry for many years. This was the most important thing, more important than cucumbers in winter. These people were finally locked up. As for what kind of treatment they would receive in prison and how much money they would spend, it was not Zhang Xiaobao's concern. He was now busy arranging for people to help the county magistrate burn all the local soybeans. Some firewood was spread on the ground with soybeans on top. Some soybeans were piled up with another layer of firewood. Many people in the county came to see in person. When the fire started, these people cheered. Now they could eat soy products with ease. County Magistrate Cheng's reputation was promoted to another level. There was no other good official in the Tang Empire who made decisions for the people. Otherwise, there wouldn't be another auspicious sign in Sanshui County. When County Magistrate Cheng saw so many soybeans being burned, he felt a little distressed. However, when he remembered that these soybeans were all paid for by others, he felt a little better. The dead old man was also reconfirmed to have contracted tuberculosis. It was said that even a woman who was not pregnant was pregnant. After 9 days, the trouble caused by Zhang Xiaobao's revenge was all solved. The people didn't care whether the soybeans were poisonous or not. Anyway, they had been burned. It was better if there was no poison. Even if there was poison, they were not afraid. After Zhang Xiaobao heard the news, he also let out a long breath. Wang Huan's mood also improved. Xiaobao, have the burned soybeans been transported back? We have made a lot of money this time. How much soy sauce can we make? It's still early. There are so many beans and firewood. We might not be able to finish burning them in 2 days. County Magistrate Cheng has already promised us that the last thing will be ours. Those innocent people have suffered. They didn't dare to eat any bean products for 6 days. Fortunately, the beans we bought from outside 3 days ago were sold. The burnt beans can't be used to extract oil. In the future, when we cook, we will put soy sauce in every meal. Zhang Xiaobao lay down on the chair and fell asleep in a while. Wang Huan also yawned and fell asleep. 2 days later, all the soybeans were burned. They were transported to Zhangjia Zhuangzi in carts. Black piles of soybeans were placed there. People who didn't know the situation wouldn't be able to guess that these were the poisonous soybeans. How is it? Have you seen it? This is the power of Zhangjia Zhuangzi. They put the people who threatened them in jail. County Magistrate Cheng said to Chen Dong, who had just returned from delivering the soybeans. Yes, my lord. This lowly one knows that the Zhong family's manner is not ordinary. But this lowly one doesn't understand. How did water come out of that dry well? It sounds like firecrackers, but firecrackers aren't that loud. It's possible to make hundreds of thousands of firecrackers, but the well can't be filled. I also didn't see so many firecrackers. Chen Dong said in confusion. Chapter 89. If you can't figure it out, don't think about it blindly. You just need to remember that it is an auspicious sign. County Magistrate Cheng warned Chen Dong. In fact, he also didn't understand why there was water. If he didn't know that it was Zhangjia Zhuangzi's doing, he would also believe what others said. That is, it was a big thunder from God to let the dry well be reborn. The more he thought about it, the more confused he became. In the end, he could only tell that it was an auspicious sign and not think about it blindly. Xiao Bao, come over quickly. They are starting to work over there. In a few days, we will be able to eat and fish up there. Wang Huan pulled up Zhang Xiaobao, who was still wondering if he could use the burnt beans as fodder, and walked towards the small bridge. Everyone else was busy, except for Huzi. Today, He followed behind the two little brats and looked around vigilantly. Xiaobao, look over there. The river is dry. They are laying the foundation there. Wang Huan pulled Zhong Xiaobao to the bridge. She held the edge of the bridge and tiptoed to look over there. She was very excited, mainly because some of the layout was designed by her. It was the room closest to the bridge. She had designed it in a pink tone. There were many short places to hang clothes in the room. She had asked someone to make a big pillow that was bigger than her. Flowers were to be placed in the room all year round. Zhong Xiaobao didn't say anything when he saw her design. He felt that Wang Huan didn't design for others. That place was tailor-made for her. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a short hanger. That thing might grow taller with age. Anything was possible. Xiaobao, say something. Do you think that place is beautiful? Wang Huan saw that Zhong Xiaobao didn't say anything, so she asked again. It's beautiful. It gives people a kind of abstract beauty, just like the paintings of Van Gogh or Picasso. There's a hint of hidden meaning in the chaos. It reminds me of the unmarked graves on the mountain behind the orphanage when I was young. During the day, you didn't feel anything. It was monotonous and boring. If you wanted to fully understand that place, you had to go at night. It would make your heart beat faster and cause your nerves to undergo some kind of mutation. Occasionally, when there was a sound that wasn't made by you, you would involuntarily resonate with it. At that time, you will truly understand that high pitch is not an obstacle for you. It will develop your intelligence and allow you to evolve from a narrow sense of science that does not have the existence of ghosts to a broad sense of science that studies all existence and the unknown, including hallucinations, until you lose consciousness. Zhong Xiaobao looked at the messy pile of construction materials and finally said these words. When Huzi heard this, he had the same feeling as when Zhong Xiaobao said that he saw Picasso's painting. He didn't care so much as long as the two little ancestors didn't fall down. Comrade Zhong Xiaobao, please don't insult Van Gogh and Picasso. Wang Huan took a deep breath and protested to Zhong Xiaobao. No, Comrade Wang Huan, don't worry. I definitely didn't have that kind of thought. I was insulting the unmarked graves. I was insulting it as much as I could, making it bare in the dark. If you want to draw it, you need to borrow the pale moonlight. Let's go back and look at it again when the construction is done. Zhong Xiaobao really didn't have the mood to look at the pile of construction materials. He was thinking about who the higher-ups would send to check on the drought. Yesterday, County Magistrate Cheng sent someone to inform him that the higher-ups would arrive in 2 days, which was tomorrow. The most important thing was how to deal with this person. I knew you wouldn't appreciate it. You always see the beauty of the result, but you don't know that it's already beautiful before the result. Wang Huan muttered and followed Zhong Xiaobao back. She wanted to see how much the fish in the pond had grown. The higher-ups will be here tomorrow, and I still want to appreciate the result. What I'm thinking about now is how to nip this in the bud. Zhong Xiaobao followed her. When they reached the pond, there were small piles of ducks and geese floating in it. Xiao Hong stood at the side with a long stick in her hand. Her mouth was moving non-stop, as if she was talking to the ducks and geese. Little Master and Little Madam are here. Look, the most beautiful goose in the middle is called Hongrong. It's the smartest. It knows how to chase some slightly bigger fish to the shore and then call the other geese to bring the fish to the shore. When Xiao Hong saw Zhong Xiaobao and Wang Huan, she happily greeted them and pointed to a goose in the water and introduced it. As soon as she finished speaking, the goose really called the other geese to bring a fish that was more than a foot long to the shore. The fish seemed to be unwilling and jumped back and forth. Ah, a fish. The fish that was put in the pond hasn't grown up yet, but they got it out. Wang Huan didn't consider whether the goose was smart or not. She came to see the fish. Zhong Xiaobao praised, it's smart. Later, we'll put it in Erniu's grilled fish oven and see if it will open the oven door from the inside. Ah! Little Master, you can't kill it. I still want it to bring the other geese back obediently. Xiao Hong was frightened when she heard that. This goose was the most obedient and could control the other geese. She just needed to control this goose every day and didn't have to worry about anything else. Then we'll change to another pond. There are 6 ponds in total, and only one has fish in it. Why do we have to put it here? Zhong Xiaobao was a little helpless. The pond in front of them was not the biggest, nor was it the best. Okay, I'll change the pond now. You can't kill Hongrong. Hongrong, come here quickly, or you'll be roasted. Xiao Hong agreed and called the goose in the pond. The goose really did come over, followed by a group of geese. Zhong Xiaobao and Wang Huan were fascinated by it. Let's go back and exercise. Huzi, pick up the fish and make soup. Zhong Xiaobao pulled Wang Huan back. He didn't plan to put the fish back. In the Yamen of Sanshui County, County Magistrate Cheng was also restless. He was guessing who would come this time. If it was a serious and responsible person, it would be over when Zhongjia Zhuangzi was found. He had promised to delay it until summer or autumn. Sir, you just had lunch. You'd better take a rest first. If someone complains, you still have to deal with it. The deputy county magistrate persuaded him. During lunch, the county magistrate didn't eat much and just drank. County Magistrate Cheng slowly closed his eyes. Okay, I'll take a nap. Remember to call me if there's anything. The deputy county magistrate nodded and left. County Magistrate Cheng closed his eyes, but he couldn't fall asleep. As long as he lowered his head slightly, he would see the scene of the people in Zhongjia Zhuangzi being taken away. Even if he knew that even if the place didn't follow the rules, nothing would happen to the people in the village. After several failed attempts to fall asleep, County Magistrate Cheng sat up and looked at the ground, thinking about how to deal with the person who came. It would be best if the person didn't come for a long time, only a few days. In that case, the whole county wouldn't be able to visit. Or the person who came was lazy and only looked at the documents prepared by the Yamen and then went on to do other things. Uncle Cheng, I'm here to see you. While County Magistrate Cheng was guessing, Zhu Shihu's voice came from outside. Shihu, come in. County Magistrate Cheng called out, but he didn't move. He just sat there and waited. When he reached the door silently, the door was pulled open. Zhu Shihu, who looked refreshed, walked in happily. Shihu, why are you here? You must have made a lot of money from the last 2 transactions. Now you can answer to your uncle. Looking at Zhu Shihu, who seemed to be a different person, County Magistrate Cheng was quite satisfied. Uncle Cheng, actually I didn't make much money. It's just a small amount of money. Uncle Cheng, guess who came this time? Zhu Shihu touched the jade pendant hanging on his waist and asked happily. I can't guess. Do you know who it is? County Magistrate Cheng shook his head and suddenly realized that if Zhu Shihu didn't know the situation, he would definitely not come here. Zhu Shihu puffed out his chest and nodded vigorously. That's right. I just know. The person who came from the province accompanied the person from the imperial court. It's probably just a formality. After all, the person from the imperial court has to investigate the entire province. It's impossible for him to check every place. Uncle Cheng, you know who it is this time, right? I don't know. County Magistrate Cheng had been thinking about this for the past 2 days. His mind was in a mess and he couldn't figure it out at all. Oh, it's my uncle. He's in charge of the province's granary and is in charge of taxation. When uncle came back last time, he said that I don't know anything and always cause trouble. This time, I want to show uncle. Seeing that County Magistrate Cheng couldn't figure it out, Zhu Shihu could only say it himself. Really? Your uncle is here? Don't worry. County Magistrate Cheng felt that his whole body was aching at this moment. He couldn't wait to lie down and sleep. Uncle Cheng, don't worry this time. Once uncle sees me, he will help Zhongjia Zhuangzi no matter what. I know now. He's in the business of blackmailing and stealing other people's things to make money. Zhu Shihu wanted to show off in front of his family. He was so excited that his face turned red. County Magistrate Cheng looked at Zhu Shihu and felt a little helpless. This child still didn't know some things. Making money from business depended on what kind of business it was. The 2 deals that Zhongjia Zhuangzi gave him were both unique. That's right. Zhongjia Zhuangzi still doesn't know about this. Quick, call Chen Dong over. Tell him to go to Zhongjia Zhuangzi and tell him to bring back a catty of black fungus so that I can treat people well. County Magistrate Cheng just remembered that he had to tell Zhuangzi such good news. He ordered a servant who was guarding outside the door. When Chen Dong arrived at Zhongjia Zhuangzi, Zhong Xiaobao and Wang Huan were practicing shooting with the slingshot. The housekeeper served Chen Dong and then came in to tell them what had happened. Hearing the news, Zhong Xiaobao and Wang Huan both breathed a sigh of relief. They also asked someone to prepare a catty of black fungus. Zhong Xiaobao thought for a while and said, "It's good that people are here. We can use this opportunity to invite Zhu Shihu's uncle here. We can only invite him. There's no need for the imperial court to come. Thank you for trusting me." Chapter 90. The sky was blue and the clouds were floating in the sky. The wind blew and the rain gathered and stopped. The mist was at the source. One of the ponds has lost 1/3 of its water. It's only been 3 days. 6 ponds only take 18 days. Think of a solution quickly. After waking up in the morning and washing up, Wang Huan dragged Zhong Xiaobao to inspect the 6 ponds on Zhuangzi. Plowing in spring required a lot of water. Seeing that one of the ponds had lost 1/3 of its water, Wang Huan was a little anxious. Zhong Xiaobao watched from the side. The people from Zhuangzi kept carrying the water back. He also knew that the farmers from Zhuangzi were afraid of the drought. The water in the fields had been given to them, but they actually dug holes in front of their houses and put boards on top of them. Then, they carried water from the ponds of Zhong Xiaobao and Wang Huan and poured it in. Say something. Just watch them carry the water away. Once the water enters the holes, half of it will seep out every day. The surrounding area is dry. Wang Huan was a little unhappy when she saw the farmers from Zhuangzi scrambling to get the water back. Her own household water could be put into the tanks. It was simply a waste to do this. Just let them carry it away. Do you want to stop them? How about this? From tomorrow onwards, let a few people from Ji Zhuang come over. We will take care of their meals. Arrange them next to the well. As long as someone comes to fetch water, let them help. Seal the ponds. If they want to use water, let Steward Ji come over and provide it all at once. At first, Zhong Xiaobao thought that it was not a big deal for these people to carry some water. Wasn't it just digging a hole? When the water around the hole was saturated, the hole would be full. But he suddenly realized that after the hole was full, these people were likely to dig another hole. Then, the water would really be wasted. I agree. We can't let them throw away the water casually now. They won't understand even if we explain it to them. It would be better if the farmers from Zhuangzi listened to everything we said. Wang Huan was also helpless about this. This was human nature. If she really wanted to blame someone, she could only blame the main family of Ji Zhuang. He called for Huzi, who had followed him here, and gave him instructions. Huzi immediately went to make the arrangements. He had long disliked these people and wanted to do this today. However, because of the young master and young lady's instructions, he had no choice but to wait until tomorrow. He had thought it through. The people of Zhuangzi of the Ji family had lost face for the main family, but he could not lose face for the young master. A farmer must have the awareness of a farmer, and a servant must also have the rules of a servant. After a short while, Huzi finished making arrangements and returned. He told them what he wanted to say. Ian, it's good that you can think this way. When the farmers and you do things outside, it's no different from when the main family does things. When the time comes, don't be afraid of causing trouble. If something really happens, no matter what the reason is, the main family will help you. Even if you make a mistake, the main family will punish you. It's not up to others to interfere. Wang Huan was satisfied with Huzi's way of doing things and the way of thinking in her heart. She was used to being domineering. In the past, when she did things in the lower ranks, she did things like this. If they made a mistake or harmed the local interests, then the local people did not need to interfere. Whether they would be punished or not was another matter. They were independent. That was what she thought. However, Huzi did not expect that the people of the main family were really too domineering. When the thing is made, the two of us will practice assassination. You are really not an ordinary kind of ruthless. You actually want to make it into a three-edged needle. As long as you aim it at the neck, no one can save you. Wang Huan still didn't completely understand Zhong Xiaobao. When she thought of the three-edged needle that was only 2 inches long and pierced into people's necks, she had to admit that Zhong Xiaobao really couldn't wear away his tyrannical character. Don't think that I'm ruthless. People who can really use children as hostages definitely don't have good hearts. Who told you to not be able to make a gun? Do you think it's so easy to make a gun? This is the Tang dynasty, not the Song dynasty where the handicraft industry flourished. I can think of ways to make all kinds of firearms. I can also make the shape of a gun. Do you dare to use it? Wang Huan's index finger and thumb made the shape of a gun and pressed it against Zhong Xiaobao's nose as she spoke. Zhong Xiaobao's 2 black eyes moved closer to the middle and a little lower. His lips slightly moved. I don't dare. I'm afraid of exploding. Didn't you say that Zhu Shihu's uncle is coming today? Why isn't he here yet? Don't pinch my nose. Wang Huan reluctantly retracted her hand. I'm being pinched, silly. He said that he's coming today, but he's coming to Sanshui County, not here. There's still someone in the imperial court. No matter what, we have to arrange it first. What do you think is the best medium for sound transmission? The higher the density, the faster the transmission in theory. The lower the dispersion, the more stable the transmission. What do you want to do? Zhong Xiaobao shook his head and shook his black eyes back to their original position. Oh, then do you know how to make a phone call? I want to prepare alarm equipment for the farmers in Zhuangzi. I want them to be able to send the news over as soon as there's danger and get people to help. Wang Huan blinked her big eyes and said, I'm not those scientists. If you want to lie, I have countless ways. In practical application, the people in the Academy of Sciences are tens of thousands of times better than me. I'm not an expert or a professor. It's fine as long as you say you don't know. I've never believed in experts or professors. I know a few academicians in the Academy of Sciences, but all of them are so stupid. They don't know how to be famous and only want to do research. Forget it, let's use the most ancient method. Wang Huan was a little disappointed with Zhong Xiaobao's answer. She sighed and made up her mind. That afternoon, Wang Huan arranged for 2 ropes to be pulled out of each house. The ropes were made of silk and connected diagonally upwards to a platform made of wood. These platforms were then connected again with ropes made of silk. These platforms were then connected to other platforms. These platforms were connected to the main house by ropes made of silk. For those farmers, when one of the ropes was pulled, it would make the corresponding bell on the platform ring. The other rope had a bamboo tube that was also connected to the platform. Okay, it's done. This is the most primitive method of long-distance communication. Tomorrow, find 2 more doctors. We also need to form a fire brigade in Zhuangzi. Go wherever there's a problem. In the evening, Wang Huan stopped. She clapped her hands and said to Zhong Xiaobao. Zhong Xiaobao already knew what Wang Huan was going to do. She wanted to make an alarm system, but the method was too primitive. He wanted to find a problem with it, but when he saw Wang Huan's excited look, he couldn't bear to do it. He could only nod and say, okay, not bad. You don't mean what you say. I know what you're thinking. Isn't it just that when the wind blows, the rope will move, and the connected bell will ring? Unless there's a very strong wind, this kind of thing won't happen. The bell needs to be pulled with some strength to shrink into the slot. If the wind is really strong enough to blow the bell into the slot, then we should be prepared. Some people's houses might even be blown down. The farmers are so good. They even dare to eat tofu. Of course, we have to do something for them. Wang Huan looked at Zhong Xiaobao's expression and knew what he was thinking. Okay, I agree. But your accuracy may not be so high. Zhong Xiaobao spent 5 taels of silver for this matter, so he didn't care. Then hurry up and find a doctor. Now we only have a veterinarian and a doctor here. At night, there must be someone on duty. Let's go back to sleep. Don't always squeeze me at night. Wang Huan pretended to be generous and said a sentence. She turned around and left. Zhong Xiaobao was stunned for a moment and followed her back. At night, you're the one squeezing me, okay? Hugging and squeezing, I'm about to fall to the ground. When the weather gets warmer, let's sleep on the carpet. Who's hugging you? I'm using you as a pillow. You're meaty and cool. Since I was young, I always had to hug something to sleep. You took advantage of me and you still complain. In the past, I used to hug a cloth doll. Wang Huan didn't look embarrassed at all. Zhong Xiaobao sighed. He knew that he couldn't reason with her in this aspect. He could only bear with it and slightly protest. Then, Comrade Wang Huan, I hope you can cherish the doll. Don't always pull the neck. I've already fallen to the pillow several times. I know. When I sleep at night, I'll use hypnosis. I'm not hugging a cloth doll, but a life form, Xiaobao baby. Wang Huan walked in front of him and said without turning her head. Zhong Xiaobao scratched his head. I'm Xiaobao baby. You seem to be younger than me. Xiaobao baby is my family's dog. He's very obedient. Is anyone there? My mother fell from the Kang bed and can't move. Help me. Chapter 91. Early in the morning, the fog on the distant mountain had not dispersed. A man was kneeling outside the courtyard of the Zhong family. The gatekeeper did not know what was going on. The news had not reached the main family yet, but he recognized Zhong Xiaoshu. He was still wearing the coat made for him on Zhuangzi. Thinking that he was in big trouble, he did not dare to neglect and hurried to find the housekeeper. Steward Zhong was busy with the spring plowing recently, so he also did not know why a villager was kneeling in front of the courtyard. When the gatekeeper came out and saw Zhong Xiaoshu kneeling there motionlessly, he pondered for a moment and asked, Xiaoshu, are you in trouble? Housekeeper Zhong, you've come out. No, there's no trouble. It's just that my mother's leg has fallen off. It was fixed last night. She won't need to use it for half a month. I'll just kneel for 2 hours. Zhong Xiaoshu looked at Steward Zhong with grateful eyes. He knelt there straight. Except for his mouth, the rest of his body was motionless. Oh, kneeling for 2 hours? Your clothes seem to be. I am afraid that the clothes given by Zhuangzi on Zhuangzi will be ruined. I wear them on the top and change them on the bottom for work. I want to keep these clothes. When I have a grandson, I will show them to him. Zhong Xiaoshu explained before Steward Zhong could speak. Steward Zhong was a little confused. He did not know what was wrong with Xiaoshu. Why was he kneeling? Besides, there was a patient at home. He said, since there is a patient at home, Xiaoshu, you'd better go back and take care of her. Oh, go to warehouse number 5 and take some bones back to make soup. Warehouse number 5 was the name given by Zhong Xiaobao and Wang Huan. It was a public warehouse. The things inside were a mess. There were all kinds of commonly used things, and the food would be frozen. Bones were one of them. Since her leg fell off, she should eat the bones to nourish her body. When she needed it, she just needed to record it. At the end of every month, Zhong Xiaobao and Wang Huan would check it. The gatekeeper knew that these words were directed at him, so he turned around to take them. Not only did he have to take the bones, but he also had to take the kuan puku, or kelp, and the liver of a fish that the young master had brought. As long as the soup was made, these 3 things had to be put together in the pot. He didn't know why, but he just obeyed. Little tree, don't panic. Get up first. Have you found a doctor? There are some in Zhuangzi. We have to take a good look at them. We can't afford to delay. Don't be afraid of spending money. The main family will pay for part of it. Steward Zhong was not clear about what had happened last night. He thought that Zhong Xiaoshu had run out of money. When he didn't say this, Zhong Xiaoshu was just kneeling. Once he said this, Zhong Xiaoshu kowtowed 3 times to the master. Steward Zhong, I've been looking for them since last night. My mother fell off the Kang, and in less than a quarter of an hour, the doctor from the main family arrived. It was very fast. I heard from the neighbors that it was even faster than the imperial palace. In half a month, I only need to pay 3 copper coins. I'm here today to thank the main family. Last night, I used that newly built thing to call for the doctor. Oh, so that's the case. Then you don't have to kneel anymore. It's enough that you know how good the main family is. In the future, when you work, put in more effort. The main family isn't giving you alms. They just want you to be at ease and do your work. If you don't slack off, it's considered repaying the main family. Hearing Zhong Xiaoshu's words, Steward Zhong understood that this thing was made by the young master and Miss Cuckoo yesterday. It was going to be used soon. What a clever method. When something happened to a villager, the main family would take action in less than a quarter of an hour. Moreover, when they arrived at the village, no one would believe them even if they told them. But he also knew that he couldn't say that this thing was made by the young master and Miss. He could only say it in the name of the main family. As long as the young master and Miss were not adults, the people in the inner courtyard must keep their mouths shut and not talk about it among themselves. Zhong Xiaoshu still didn't get up. He continued to kneel there and replied to the steward, "Yes, we all know that. We have to work hard." Except for the main family of Zhong family and Wang family, no other main family of Zhuangzi would do this for the villager. In a while, I'll go to the ground and step on it. I'll step on it and make all the bubbles in the soil come out. Steward Zhong, what's going on? Isn't this person Xiaoshu from the back of the village? Did he do something wrong? Why is he kneeling here? Get up. As long as you don't collude with outsiders, it's okay to make a little mistake. At this time, the Jiang Wang clan came out and wanted to walk by the river. It could also be considered as exercise. This was persuaded by Zhong Xiaobao and Wang Huan. Zhong Xiaobao wanted to exercise in the morning, but Wang Huan objected at first, saying that the air in the morning was not good and that it was best to exercise in the evening. Zhong Xiaobao, on the other hand, argued that the air in the morning was not good because of a night of sediment. However, the humidity of the air was good and suitable for people to breathe. The sediment that had been deposited overnight could be handled by the white blood cells in the body before it was exposed to the ultraviolet light. The sediment that had been deposited overnight was exposed to the ultraviolet light, but the moisture in the air was also reduced, which was more harmful to the lungs when exercising. The Jiang Wang clan knew that the children were doing it for her good, so she used 2 periods of time, one in the morning and one in the evening. She also ate the wood ears with heartache to clear her lungs. Today, when she came out with her maid, she saw the person kneeling there. After thinking for a while, she found that she had some impression of him, so she spoke. In reply to Madam, Zhong Xiaoshu didn't do anything wrong. Yesterday, Madam asked people to build a platform to transmit information, which was used at night. Xiaoshu's mother fell from the Kang bed in the middle of the night and used that platform to inform this side. The doctor in Zhuangzi got up and went out. From the time of the accident to the time of the treatment, it didn't take more than a quarter of an hour. Xiaoshu is here to express his gratitude. I have already sent people to the 5th storeroom to get the bones. When the time comes, we will give them to Xiaoshu's mother to nourish her body. It will take half a month. The housekeeper reported to the Jiang Wang clan cautiously. There was also a hint that he was not as casual as before. In the past, he was loyal to Zhuangzi and only had respect for Madam. Now, he was in awe and was afraid of the little master. If the little master misunderstood that he did not respect Madam, it would be very likely that he would be killed. He firmly believed that if the little master wanted to kill someone, it would be as easy as flipping his hand. Ian, there's no need to thank me. Do your job well. Xiaoshu, remember to cook everything together when you go back. Don't leave anything behind. Those things are from my family found them with great difficulty. Take good care of your mother and don't move around. Get up. The Jiang Wang clan said lightly. Just now, she almost said my family's Xiao Bao. After greeting him, the majesty of the master of the house was undoubtedly revealed. Xiaoshu respectfully kowtowed a few more times before he stood up. He felt a little embarrassed. He originally came to express his gratitude, but in the end, he received some bones, which was far more than the 3 copper coins he spent. He wanted to turn around and leave without taking anything, but he did not dare to. What was the meaning of not taking what the master gave to you? Were you afraid that you would fall ill from eating too much? Therefore, he could only wait to receive the items. He secretly swore to himself that he would do more to repay the master. As for the master's indifferent tone, he did not have any thoughts about it. The masters should be like this. After a while, the gatekeeper brought the 3 items in a bamboo basket. There was still some stubble on the bones, and the basket weighed about 10 pounds. Xiaoshu took the basket and wanted to kowtow to express his gratitude, but found that the master's wife had already left with the servant girl. Xiaoshu Zhong's mother falling down was actually a small matter. However, from the time she fell to the moment she was treated within a quarter of an hour, this was not a small matter. All the villagers knew that if this happened in the past, there would be 2 options. One was to be carried to a place where there was a doctor, the other was to spend money to hire an express train to find her at dawn. The last option was to endure it. If they could, they would. If they could not, they would become disabled. The problem was that Xiaoshu Zhong's mother fell down, and he did not even leave the house. Within a short time, people came. This was a life-saving situation. People who were paralyzed in bed would not last more than a few years. Many diseases would come and they would rot there. After Xiaoshu Zhong's neighbors spread the news, the whole of Zhengjia Zhuangzi knew about it. Then it was the Wang family's Zhuangzi, and then the Ge family's Zhuangzi. Zhong Wang and Zhuangzi both had emergency items, but the Ge family's Zhuangzi did not. They did not even dare to think about it. When a family was in trouble, the master's family would respond within a quarter of an hour and send people over. This speed was frightening to think about. There was no need to worry about the medical fees. It was said that the houses of the Zhong Wang and Zhuangzi would be managed by the master's family in the future. It seemed that the villagers did not need to prepare for anything else. They just needed to work hard for the village. There was no need for them to worry about anything else. The villagers of the Ge family were all jealous. The ancestors of the other 2 villages were smoking. The good fortune that they had accumulated over 8 lifetimes was spread over their heads. There was no need for them to think about anything else. They just had to work hard. Ji Yingxi also knew about this matter. Looking at the Zhong Wang and Zhuangzi, he could only sigh. He could not compare and did not dare to. Master, they are doing this to make us feel bad. Why don't we spread the news about them farming and create some trouble for them? Housekeeper Ji was also jealous. You are the master's family, why do you have to raise a doctor? If your side is better, the villagers' hearts will be unstable. Shut up. Don't mention this matter in the future. How dare you use such a method? Do you think that the Zhong Wang and Zhuangzi are friendly? They know about what happened last time and did not do anything. It's not that they are afraid of us, but they don't want to talk to us. Do you really want to force them to deal with the Ge family's Zhuangzi? If we continue to create trouble, there will be no way out. We are still building the restaurant with them. I heard that they are looking for a doctor. Why don't we discuss with them? We will also fork out some money. We can learn from them and make that thing in Zhuangzi that can spread information very quickly. When there is a problem, we can find someone to help. If there is a disease, we can treat it. If there is a fire, we can also help our neighbors. If we don't do it now, they will have a lot more grain than us during the autumn harvest. I don't know if it is a blessing or a curse to have such a neighbor. Ji Yingxi had no other choice but to follow along. Fortunately, they did not keep some things a secret and even invited him to join them. Chapter 92. While the owners of the Zhong, Wang, and Ge manors and the farmers had their own thoughts, County Magistrate Cheng of the Sanshui County Yamen was also making urgent arrangements. The people who came down to check on the situation said that they would arrive at noon. Before noon, County Magistrate Cheng led a group of people out to welcome them. Compared to the last time, County Magistrate Cheng was much more relieved this time. At least he knew who was coming this time. At the same time, he was not afraid of any internal problems. After getting 3 catties of soaked wood ear, Chief Secretary Zhao Xiong was no longer as rigid as before. When he had nothing to do, he would ask for some carrots and put them in when making stir-fried meat slices with wood ear for his daughter. Seeing that his daughter could eat more, he thought that Zhengjia Zhuangzi would not do anything, so he helped to hide it. After waiting for less than an hour, the person this time arrived much earlier than the previous time. He's coming. My uncle is coming. Zhu Shihu also joined the welcoming team this time. When he saw the smoke from afar, he shouted excitedly. Everyone around him felt that it was wrong of him to do so. They even hoped that he would be happier. This meant that he had a good relationship with his uncle. If they had a good relationship, the Yamen would spend less effort. As the smoke and dust got closer, the public carriage in the team was also revealed. There were many people, all of whom looked very powerful. However, if one looked carefully, one would find that this time, not only did the capital send a person to check on the situation, but also some rich playboys. We have to spend more money to entertain them again. Many people thought so. One of the Yamen runners even said it out loud. Shut up, don't talk nonsense. This means that the people above value our Sanshui County. Which place can still make water come out of a dry well during a drought? County Magistrate Cheng glared at the Yamen runner and reprimanded him in a low voice. The others around them all showed an expression of yes, but they knew in their hearts that everything was caused by the Zhong family's farmstead. Although they didn't know how they did it, the facts were irrefutable. Please forgive me for not welcoming you from afar. When the public carriage stopped, County Magistrate Cheng walked over first and saluted as he spoke. The other people in the Yamen stood behind and saluted as well. At this time, it was not their turn to speak. Zhu Shihu wanted to speak several times, but he held back. If he spoke now, not only would he not be praised by his uncle, but he would also be scolded for being unreasonable. Well, thank you for your hard work, County Magistrate Cheng. It's okay, we just arrived. Come, County Magistrate Cheng, let me introduce you. This is Assistant Minister Wei of the Ministry of Works and Assistant Minister Shen of the Ministry of Rights. Zhu Qiong, the military officer in charge of Feng Province, got off the carriage first. After the people in the carriage behind also got off, he introduced them to County Magistrate Cheng. As for the others, he didn't say much. They were just here for sightseeing, and all of them could come here because of their family's position. County Magistrate Cheng was stunned when he heard Zhu Shihu's introduction. He did not expect that there would be two assistant ministers, one from the Ministry of Works and the other from the Ministry of Rights. He knew the roles of these two people. The Ministry of Works was in charge of water conservancy and so on, while the Ministry of Rights was in charge of auspicious signs. Logically speaking, it wasn't a big deal for the two of them to come over, but their ranks were really too high. Which assistant minister would go down when they had nothing to do? There were so many places suffering from drought, so how could there be so many assistant ministers going to every place? What's more, these two people came directly to the county instead of the prefecture for the first time. It was unreasonable. Thinking of this, County Magistrate Cheng didn't dare to show any hesitation or neglect on his face. He went forward to greet them one by one. Assistant Minister Wei and Assistant Minister Shen were polite and didn't ignore him. They nodded slightly as a greeting. After all, this was a fourth-grade official, and he wouldn't come here easily. His visit this time was a great honor to Sanshui County. County Magistrate Cheng, let's put other things aside for now. Take me to the well to take a look. I didn't expect an auspicious sign to appear in your Sanshui County during this drought. I'm in charge of the prefecture this time. Many people are happy about this. Zhu Shihu's uncle, Zhu Shihu, said to County Magistrate Cheng with a smile. At the same time, he glanced at his excited nephew. When County Magistrate Cheng heard this, he paused for a moment. He wasn't a young man who didn't know much. From these words, he already knew that there was an auspicious sign in this place. Even if the prefecture obtained many benefits, his contribution would not be small. These were not the most important thing. The most important thing was that this auspicious sign was very important to the people in charge. Not only did the people in the neighboring prefectures know about it, but their attitude was not good. It was said that many people were happy for the auspicious sign. It was more accurate to say that they thought Sanshui County was lying. Otherwise, if there was no auspicious sign in their prefectures when they encountered drought, it could only mean that they did not do a good job for the local people. County Magistrate Cheng understood that Zhu Shihu's uncle had informed him in advance and asked him to make good arrangements. If something went wrong with the auspicious sign, he would not be able to protect Zhu Shihu. When he and the county magistrate were promoted, the people below could also directly take over these two positions. Sanshui County would still be in the hands of their own people. They could also take good care of Zhongjia Zhuangzi. Zhongjia Zhuangzi had so many wood ears. If they did not use them now, when should they wait? County Magistrate Cheng also understood his meaning. Wei Wei nodded, that's right. With this drought, not only will there be less grain, there will also be less wood ears in the surrounding areas. Zhongjia Zhuangzi can sell a lot of money, but will they be willing to? They have already spent a lot of money. The people in the Yamen also get a lot of food and drink from there. What my lord is worried about is that we can send someone to tell them. This way, when we are promoted, there will be people at the top, but the local government will still be our people. Zhongjia Zhuangzi will not only be a little bit of food, but even if they kill someone, they will be able to stop Zhongjia Zhuangzi. The master on Zhuangzi is not an ordinary person. Zhao Xiong also knew that if it was an ordinary person, they would not agree. But was Zhongjia Zhuangzi ordinary? The things they did were always unpredictable, but they could always get a lot of benefits. Alright, then let's try. If it really doesn't work, let them take out less. County Magistrate Cheng felt that this was the best way. There was no harm in trying. If it worked, he could be promoted and Sanshui County would also be under his control. The two of them could be considered to have made a decision. Zhu Shihu was also showing off his achievements to his uncle. He told him about the money he had earned during this period. Chapter 93. With a smile on his face, Zhu Shihu listened to his nephew talk about what kind of business he did, how he did it, how much he earned, how much he spent, and what he bought for his family. Seeing that his nephew was so happy, he didn't disturb him and just listened. In fact, he didn't care how much his nephew earned. He only cared if his nephew bullied people on the street like Hai Zholi and didn't do anything for a day. From these words, he knew that his nephew, who had always been a bad learner, had changed into a different person ever since he started doing business with the Zhong family's manor. He no longer played with the people he used to play with. All day long, he was thinking about how to sell things. Also, when he sold things, the local people praised him. For example, although his nephew made money, the local people always said that he was good. When talking about this, Zhu Shihu was especially energetic. He said that if the people didn't have money and still needed to farm, he would ask for less money. Some people even rented to the people first and wait for the autumn harvest. There were also people who came to buy clothes who kept coughing. He even found a doctor to treat them. For the first time, Zhu Shihu dared to speak to his uncle so confidently. He felt that he didn't do anything wrong, unlike before when he had nothing to do all day long. Every time his uncle asked, he didn't know what to say and could only lower his head. In the future, this nephew is going to do business with Zhongjia Zhuangzi. They said that there are still many business deals. I saw a necklace made of big pearls in Zhenbao Pavilion. The asking price is 600 taels of silver. I originally had that much money, but I was afraid that after spending it, I wouldn't have enough capital to do other business, so I didn't buy it. The next time I do business with Zhongjia Zhuangzi, I will buy that necklace and give it to my mother. My mother's birthday is in 2 months. Tomorrow, I will go and urge Zhongjia Zhuangzi to complete a business deal within this period of time. There is also a bracelet that is not bad. When I earn enough money, I will buy it and give it to my aunt. These days, I didn't spend much money to eat at the restaurant. It was all the people who wanted to buy things for me. I brought home the food that I couldn't finish and gave it to the servants. They all said that I am good. Zhu Shihu didn't stop talking. He couldn't wait to tell his uncle everything that had happened to him. Zhu Qiong had been listening the whole time. Suddenly, he asked, "Why did you bring her back? Aren't you afraid that others will call you stingy? What do you mean by petty? Even if they don't eat it, they'll throw it away. The servants at home can't eat it even if they want to. It's not spoiled. Last time, I personally went to deliver a plough to a villager. I saw that the food they were eating was from the day before yesterday. They were still eating it even after 2 days. I didn't get sick after eating it. When I looked at it, I thought that I shouldn't have thrown away so many things in the past. In the past, when I bought things to eat, I spent my family's money. Now I know that it's not easy to make money. I have to manage the craftsman and look at the price. Selling a plough only earns a few copper coins, so of course I have to be frugal. Ju Shihu started talking again. He even stretched out his hand for his uncle to see. There were 2 wounds on his hand that he had accidentally touched with the plough. When Ju Cheong heard this, he finally smiled. His nephew was sensible. He knew that it wasn't easy to make money. He knew how to be filial to his parents. He also knew how to be considerate of the common people. Nothing could make him happier than this. As for the money he earned, it didn't matter if it was more or less. Even if he lost it, he could accept it. Uncle, please don't tell my mother that I want to buy things for her. My mother will definitely complain that I'm wasting money. When I went back, I measured it. That necklace on my mother's neck made her look even better. She's even prettier than my father's new concubine. And that bracelet as well. Uncle, you'll know once you put it on my aunt. My aunt is fair, so with that light green bracelet, she'll look even younger. Uncle, what's wrong? Why are your eyes red? Is it because it's too dry? Is it because it's stuffy in the carriage? It's like this now, but when we get there, you'll know. The well water is very delicious. It's very cooling. Just one sip and you'll feel comfortable from inside out. Winter here is different from other places. Nephew learned how to make a kang from Zhongjia Zhuangzi. Lying on it is really warm. Ju Shihu saw that his uncle's eyes were a little red. He thought that it was stuffy in the carriage, so he lifted the curtain a little and continued talking. Yes, it's stuffy. It's good to see the well water. Xiao Hu, tell uncle, what do you plan to do in the future? Ju Cheong used his sleeve to wipe the corner of his eyes and asked with relief. Plan? Nephew, I really don't know. I just want to do business with Zhongjia Zhuangzi. They gave me all the profitable deals. Actually, I know that if I was alone, they wouldn't even bother with me. It's all uncle behind me. They want to curry favor with uncle. I did earn some money, but I didn't keep all of it for myself. I returned some to them. Uncle, that Zhongjia Zhuangzi is really amazing. They come up with one idea after another to make money. I'm not afraid that I won't have anything to do in the future. Uncle, you have to protect that Zhongjia Zhuangzi well. Only with them around can I do business. Ju Shihu became shrewd at this time. Ju Cheong shook his head. How could he not know about his nephew's little cleverness? Zhongjia Zhuangzi indeed had to be protected. It wasn't that they cared about the little money his nephew earned, but that his nephew had become more sensible after working with them. A prodigal son had turned over a new leaf. No amount of money could buy that. Uncle, you have to say something. Zhongjia Zhuangzi doesn't have it easy. They will react at the slightest sign of trouble. The wood ear that I gave you last time was also from them. You might not know, but that wood ear was planted by them. They even said that they will let me help them sell the mushrooms they grow in the future. Amazing, right? Wood ear can be planted. Now that there's a drought, there are even less wood ear here. The same goes for mushrooms. They are now telling me how to make the mushrooms into delicious dishes. I bought some and made them for my mother. My mother even praised me for it. I made it myself and didn't let anyone else help. Speaking of this, Ju Shihu felt very happy, especially when he saw his parents constantly praising him when they ate. He wished that he could cook every day. Good, Xiao Hu's cooking will definitely be delicious. When we go back, Xiao Hu will also make a meal for uncle. Ju Cheong could imagine how terrible his nephew's cooking would be. His nephew had never cooked before, and his knife skills were not good enough. However, he knew that if he cooked for his parents, it would be the best thing in the world. Even the imperial chef could not compare. Zhu Shihu saw the expression on his uncle's face and knew what his uncle was thinking. He sighed and said, "Uncle, I know what you are thinking. Don't you think that I don't know how to cook? Let me tell you, it's not like that. In the recipe that Zhongjia Zhuangzi gave me, he wrote down how much to put in each ingredient. I let the accountant read it and used a scale to weigh everything. He even wrote down the temperature of the fire. They also gave me something. It's a light yellow thing that looks like a grain of rice. If you put it in the dish, it will taste more delicious." "Oh, there's something else. What is it? Is it really that delicious when put in the dish?" Zhu Qiong still did not believe it, but he followed his nephew's words to make him feel better. "Aya, uncle, why don't you believe it? All the restaurants in the county want to buy that thing from them. It costs 1 tael of silver per tael, and they only buy 1 tael of silver per month. They use it on special dishes. I didn't even ask for the recipe. Even if I did ask, they wouldn't tell me." Zhu Shihu was a little helpless. Why didn't his uncle believe him? As they were talking, the carriage stopped. Just when everyone thought that they had arrived, someone brought a bowl of hot soup in front of them. There were fungus, soaked cucumbers, and eggs. There was a layer of chopped green onions floating on top of the soup. There were 2 youtiao beside it. Of course, they did not know that it was called youtiao. At this time, County Magistrate Cheng came to the side of the carriage of the 3 most important people and said, "Sirs, it will take an hour to get there. I was afraid that you would be hungry, so I casually prepared some food to eat first." After hearing his words, everyone understood. They had rushed all the way here without rest, so they were indeed a little hungry. Smelling the soup, they ate a mouthful of the youtiao, drank a mouthful of the soup, and ate all kinds of small dishes. Now, they all felt that they were not satisfied. However, they had eaten all the food and drank the soup, so it was not good to ask for more. "Why is this soup different from the ones we drank before? It's fresh. Dried cucumbers can be so fresh after soaking them. What is this staple food? It's crispy on the outside and soft on the inside. The small pickles also have a special spicy taste." Commander Sai Kang, Zhu Qiong, finished the food but still did not have enough. He glanced at the food that his nephew had not touched and praised. Zhu Shihu seemed to have known that this would happen. He pushed the food in front of his uncle and said, "Uncle, have a taste. Isn't it very delicious? Especially the soup and the small pickles. The taste is better than the ones made in the same big restaurants. It's good. Little Hu, you eat." Zhu Qiong really wanted to eat, but he felt a little embarrassed. "Uncle, your nephew has already eaten. I have that thing that can make such a delicious soup. You can eat it whenever you want. The soup and pickles are like this because of that thing. It's a pity that they sell very little of it and only sell it to the 3 restaurants here. The county Yarman will send some to me, but they don't sell the rest. They only started selling it last night. It is said that they are going to build a restaurant and sell it there in the future. Uncle, you should eat quickly. Otherwise, it will get cold." As Zhu Shihu spoke, he took out a small paper bag from his chest and carefully opened it for his uncle to see. Zhu Qiong did not hold back this time. He picked up the bowl and drank. He exhaled and asked, "Is it really because of the thing in your hand? You can't get the recipe?" Chapter 94. I can't get it. They didn't even mention the recipe. "Uncle, think about it. No one would hand over such a good thing," Zhu Shihu said helplessly. Seeing that his uncle was about to speak, he said, "Uncle, I know what you want to say. Isn't it just to see what they usually buy? I've already arranged for people to watch them. However, they bought almost everything. They even sent people to the market to pick up things. At night, after the people in the market had left, they would send people to pick up things. If they could eat something, they would pick it up. Rotten fish and smelly shrimps. At first, I thought they were good things. Later, I found out that they were drying these things and grinding them into powder to feed the chickens. They also bought some rice and flour. In the past, it was soybeans. Later, they said that soybeans were poisonous, so they stopped. They also stopped selling vegetable oil. Only then did I know that the vegetable oil was soybean oil. I also wanted to know how they got the oil. I even stir-fried the soybeans a few times. It was quite fragrant. Unfortunately, there was no oil. Later, I asked people to soak it in water to get the oil out. In the end, it sprouted 2 inches long. It was quite good when stir-fried with meat. I even complained to Song Jingong, who had been helping to contact them. I didn't expect that Song Jingong would really go back and tell him. The next day, he gave me a recipe. It was a recipe for sliced chicken in scallion oil with bean sprouts. Oh, is it delicious? Uncle hasn't eaten it yet. Ju Cheong asked with a smile. It's delicious. On the 3rd day, they told me that the bean sprouts can be eaten without the tail. As long as it's cooked in boiling oil and stir-fried with shredded meat, it will be tender and crispy. I made it too. It was indeed so. Ju Shihu said with a depressed face. Ha 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 ha. Ju Cheong finally couldn't help but laugh. At the same time, he was even more curious about Zhang Jiazhuangzi. His nephew was fooling around, and the other side was actually able to give him a recipe immediately. This was not simple. If that's the case, why don't you sell this with them? You can give them more money. I did, but they didn't agree. They told me not to worry and that there will be new things to sell soon. Not only in this province, but also in other provinces. They will sell to those small shops that specialize in selling salt and soy sauce. What they sell is soy sauce. I'm looking for people to go to other provinces to look for merchants. They're not selling them at a high price. The price they gave me was 5 copper coins for 2 catties. If I were to sell them for 10 copper coins for 3 catties, I don't need to share the money with them. Now that there's a drought in many places, the price of beans is expensive. By selling them like this, they're really helping the people. Ju Shihu counted with his fingers as he spoke to his uncle. But you didn't earn much, did you? Not much. That depends on the amount. They said that they can give me 5,000 dans of soy sauce in the beginning and 50,000 dans of soy sauce in the future. I need to get salt for them. They can't buy that much salt. Isn't that a lot? I don't know how long it will take to sell all the soy sauce. It's best if the people under you know how to do things and sell the soy sauce to further places. Ju Shihu was now wondering how Zhang Jiazhuangzi could get so many soybeans to make soy sauce and dared to lower the price so much. Hearing these words, Ju Cheong did not look as relaxed as before. The Zhong family's manner did this to help suppress the price of some things in the province, so that those who wanted to speculate would not dare to make a move. This was a big deal. 55,000 sha worth of soy sauce, just hearing it was enough to scare people. He knew that some of the information he got from his nephew might not be true. He shouted outside, "County Magistrate Cheng, please come over. I have something to ask." County Magistrate Cheng was thinking about how to make the people above stay in the county and only let Ju Xiu go to Zhang Jiazhuangzi to take a look. When he heard Ju Xiu calling for him, he didn't dare to delay. He got down from his seat and entered Ju Xiu's car. He asked respectfully, "Sir, what do you want to ask this humble official? Do you know that Zhang Jiazhuangzi wants to sell soy sauce?" Ju Xiu asked directly. Yes, they want to lower the price of food. Not only soy sauce, but also a lot of eggs in 2 days. They can buy 1 jin of eggs at a time and the price is very cheap. Chickens need to be eaten. Once the price of eggs is lowered, the price of food can't increase. I have already ordered people to block the roads leading to the outside of this county. If they find anything transporting food, they will stop it. County Magistrate Cheng was a little excited when he talked about this matter. Zhong family and Wang family of Zhuangzi were almost losing money to help him suppress the price of food. If Sanshui County was stricter, they didn't have to worry about the people not being able to eat. They made a lot of money and didn't hesitate to spend money. Ju Xiu was in charge of taxation. Of course, he knew that County Magistrate Cheng would win a lot of praise if the price was stabilized. Why did Zhang Jiazhuangzi do this? Are you in contact with them? Yes, They have been helping me in all aspects. As long as I am in a little trouble, Zhongjia Zhuangzi will use his means. I have always regarded the person who takes care of me as my master. I have discussed with Song Jinggong several times that I want to be apprenticed to him, but he didn't agree. I think they are testing me. At this time, County Magistrate Cheng did not try to hide anything. He said everything that could be said. He knew that Zhu Qiong and he were together, so there was no need to hide anything from this kind of thing that was not a secret. Anyone with a discerning eye would understand at a glance. Zhu Xiu pondered for a while and asked again, "Can you ask for their recipe?" "I don't know. I don't dare to ask for it. That will stop people from making money. I still want to be apprenticed to a master." County Magistrate Cheng told the truth. "Well, I see. We are almost there, right?" Zhu Xiu didn't want to force County Magistrate Cheng. County Magistrate Cheng was still taking care of his family. "Almost there. I will go back first. I will come back later." County Magistrate Cheng knew that Zhu Xiu wanted him to leave. He nodded and stopped the carriage. He bowed and left. After a while, they finally arrived at the place. As soon as they got off the carriage, they saw that there were many people there. Everyone had something to fetch water beside them. Some people squeezed out of the crowd and left with water. In addition to these people, there were people kneeling there and burning incense. There was a lot of water in the surrounding area. It was wet. The place that was surrounded by people should be the dry well. These people from above were ready to drive the others away. Before they could give orders, County Magistrate Cheng stood up and shouted, "Folks, please make way. The Imperial Court has sent people to look at this well." The people didn't even hesitate and made way. From this, one could see County Magistrate Cheng's prestige in the county. Everyone saw that a well without a platform appeared in front of them. There were also tools to fetch water beside it. These people were fetching water from here. Everyone gathered around to take a look. As they watched, they asked questions, especially the surrounding commoners. They were all called over for questioning. After some questioning, they had to admit that this was indeed an auspicious sign. During a drought, the dry well actually produced water. Some people even said that they saw the heavens use lightning to split the well. With a boom, there was water in the well. Some people said that they saw an immortal pass by the well. He lamented that it was dry here, so he used the thunder summoning technique to help blow up the well. There were all kinds of theories, but no matter which one it was, they all heard a loud boom. The people who came took note of this. Even if they had completed this task, they returned to the carriage and let the people continue fetching water. Some people even asked people to find things to hold water. They fetched some water so that they could drink tea when they returned. After a busy period, County Magistrate Cheng didn't wait for the people to have other thoughts. He asked them to go somewhere else to eat. He said that he wanted them to taste the specialties of Sanshui County. It was also a kind of action to help the people. When the people saw that everyone had left, they were more convinced of this auspicious sign. They went back to fetch water with pious expressions. "Don't rush. Slow down. It seems that we have to buy some kelp. There are too few people selling kelp here. When can we find a place by the sea that specializes in collecting kelp?" In Zhongjia Zhuangzi, Wang Huan said to Huzi, who was working there. Then, she began to whisper to him. The thing that could enhance the taste was monosodium glutamate. It was boiled from kelp. She and Zhong Xiaobao knew how to make it. As for industrial processing, they couldn't do anything. After the kelp was boiled, it was taken out. It could be made into soup or used for other purposes. As long as the remaining water was dried, the monosodium glutamate would be deposited at the bottom. Since kelp was not easy to buy and there was not a lot of it, besides selling it to the 3 restaurants to help with branding, only the Yamen and Jushihu could get some of it. I am currently ranked 8. If I can reach the top 5, I will update 4 times a day. If I appear on the recommendation list, I will update 5 times a day. Clickable list is also fine. But clickable list is not easy to get. Another book I recommend, King Daoji Model Competition. Everyone, go and take a look. It is written well. Don't give your recommendation tickets to him. Chapter 95. Black clouds rolled and the ink-like wind blew. The new branches swayed and the seedlings fell into the water. Last night, the sky was still clear. Who would have thought that before they even woke up in the morning, a strong wind rolled in dark clouds and covered the entire sky. The villagers in the farmstead thought that there would be a heavy rain, so they all put on their clothes and stood outside the door, ignoring the flapping of the windows from the wind. The sky was supposed to be bright, but at this time, it was still dark. The surrounding trees were swaying back and forth in the wind. As the farmers waited for the heavy rain to fall, they suddenly thought that many of the rice seedlings in the fields might be blown over. They couldn't wait any longer. They put on their bamboo hats and hurried to the fields. The fallen seedlings had to be helped up as soon as possible. The farmers in Zhuangzi and Zhuangzi on the Zhong family and Wang family and the Ji family on Zhuangzi also started to move. Not only did the adults come out, but the children also wanted to help. In the end, when the farmers in Zhong family and Wang family arrived at the fields, what they saw was not a patch of fallen seedlings. Only a few seedlings had fallen, and there were other seedlings beside them. There was no need to help them up. It was just that some of the seedlings had fallen. When the wind stopped, they just had to move some of the seedlings from the denser areas. The farmers who felt a little strange began to walk towards the Ji family's Zhuangzi area to see if it was the same as here. When they arrived, they saw that the Ji family's Zhuangzi people had all jumped into the water and were helping the seedlings up one by one. There was even a woman who was crying. In the past, the Zhong family and Wang family's Zhuangzi people wouldn't care at all. After all, it wasn't their own land. Today, however, there were people who jumped into the water to help. After eating and wearing warm clothes, they could think of helping others. With so many people joining in, the speed at which the seedlings were being helped up also increased. Even if some seedlings fell back down, no one gave up. If they didn't do anything at this time, the seedlings could easily drown. The Ji family's Zhuangzi people thought that the Zhong family and Wang family's people were here to watch the show. Now that they saw that they were here to help, they were grateful but also doubtful. Could it be that they didn't care about their own seedlings? Little Wang, come and help. Where's your land? Don't want it anymore? Go back quickly. The main family is so good to you. If you can't deliver the food when the harvest comes, how can you face the main family? A farmer in Zhuangzi of the Ji family advised the people who had come to his family's land. There's no need. The seedlings in my family's field are fine. Compared to yours, they're stronger and taller. Do you think there will be heavy rain today? Little Wang Zi looked at the rice seedlings in the field. Compared to his own, he realized that the difference between the rice seedlings on both sides was quite large. Really? What kind of seeds do you have at home? The people from the Ji family in Zhuangzi did not believe it, but since they were here to help, they must be fine. Otherwise, they would be busy with their own things. As he spoke, he raised his head to look at the sky. It was so dark that it seemed like it would fall at any moment. However, not a single drop of rain fell. Little Wang Zi continued to bend over to support the seedlings. He raised his arm to wipe off the water that splashed on his face. I'm not lying. It's the same seeds as usual. But this time, the seeds were given by the main family. The grains left at home to be used as seeds can be eaten. Of course, little Wang Zi did not know that the seeds had been soaked in lime water by his family's young master and his wife, Cuckoo. When the wind passed, they straightened up again. It was really amazing. Old Wang, why do I feel that the seedlings are like humans standing there? They get up when they fall. Even if some of them are weaker and fall, their roots will not be pulled out. If it was last year, many seedlings would be floating on the water surface. Housekeeper Zhong stood on the ridge of the field and said to the equally surprised Housekeeper Wang. Housekeeper Wang also had the same feeling. When the little seedlings stubbornly fought against the strong wind, he couldn't help but want to cheer. In his eyes, these seedlings had become little babies with small arms and legs. They stood there chubby, energetic, and cute. Who said it wasn't? After so many years of farming, this is the first time I've seen it. I don't even want to go back. I'm willing to stay here and watch. Look at those two strong seedlings. They are even blocking the wind for the seedlings behind. Let's not go back first. Let's go to Zhuangzi to take a look. At this time, housekeeper Wang felt that the wind was so cool and refreshing. He also felt more energetic. He called out and walked towards Ji family's Zhuangzi. When the two of them arrived at Ji family's Zhuangzi side, they saw their own farmers helping there. When they got closer, they shook their heads at the same time. The seedlings were too weak. They could not be compared to their own seedlings. As long as they were blown away, they would not be able to get up again. Many seedlings floated up and spun on the water surface. In the GE family's farmstead, there were farmers who were hoping for a good harvest by autumn. While they were busy putting the rice seedlings back, they were also wiping their tears. The children were also sensible enough to help. They imitated the adults and moved mechanically. Their eyes were full of confusion and helplessness, making people feel sad when they looked at them. The farmers from the Zhong and Wang estates who helped had calm expressions on their faces. After all, it wasn't their own family. They would help as much as they could. As for the harvest, they couldn't control it. They didn't have the ability to do so even if they wanted to. At the same time, they were also glad that their master's family was so capable. Even in such a strong wind, the rice sprouts stood in the wind and didn't fall. When someone saw the housekeeper of the main family coming over, he thought that the housekeeper was asking them to go back. He came forward and explained, "Steward Zhong, there is no problem on our side. When the wind passes, we can help those that fell over. They are quite pitiful here. Yes, we are not in a hurry to go back." It's a pity that Steward Zhong was not as difficult to talk to as before. He did not ask anyone to go back. He wanted to say something but did not know how to start. He could not tell the farmers that it was a pity that GE family did not have people like the young master and young lady in Zhuangzi. Ji Yingxi also came over with the housekeeper. Looking at the situation in the field, his face was ugly. He tightly pursed his lips and frowned. His fists on both sides of his body were tightly clenched. He was the one who felt the most distressed. If there was less food, he wouldn't dare to collect more rent. He couldn't just watch the farmers starve to death in front of him. It would be fine if the government reduced the rent, but if they didn't, then he would have to compensate for his losses. "Master, you have to think of something quickly. It's useless to just support them like this. What if there's another heavy rain later? Some of the broken seedlings will be washed away by the water. If there's really no other way, we have to rush to replant them." Housekeeper Ji also had a distressed look. He looked up at the sky and said worriedly, "We still need to support them. You go back quickly and ask all the servants in the yard to come here. They can help a little." Are these the farmers of Zhong family and Wang family in Zhuangzi? Why don't they care about their own family and come here to help? Ji Yingxi did not want to give up. Seeing that the manpower was still not enough, he even asked the people of the main family to call. At the same time, he was puzzled about the people of Zhong family and Lai family coming here. Ji Muramasa also came here? If there is no other way, I will go back and discuss with Master and give some seedlings to this side. Maybe it will work. Housekeeper Wang saw Ji Yingxi and came over to say. Ji Yingxi just realized that the two housekeepers also came. Just now, he was concerned about the situation in the field and did not look to the side. What? Zhong family's seedlings in Zhuangzi are better than mine? Ji Yingxi felt that he could still afford to give some seedlings, but the farmers could not. It is not much better. It is just a strong wind blowing and not falling. Of course, we can't help for free. Housekeeper Ji, you have to give us 3 times the amount of seedlings. Housekeeper Wang's face was indifferent. He felt that it was reasonable to say that the seedlings were good. Ji Yingxi was stunned and suddenly said, "I don't believe it. Let me go and see. After saying that, he did not care about this side and hurriedly crossed the small bridge and came to the Wang family's Zhuangzi land. He stood there and looked carefully. He was speechless. Compared to the seedlings on both sides, his side was like a child without milk. Their arms and legs were thin, and the other side was as strong as a calf. No wonder they all went to my house to help. It turns out that they did not care about their seedlings at all. What happened to Zhong family and Wang family in less than a year? It is fine if they have a way to make money, but the seedlings are also like this. This is too much. They are clearly the same seedlings, not a new type of seedling. After muttering a few words, Ji Yingxi finally made up his mind. He turned around and ran back. When he saw Steward Zhong and Steward Wang, who were still standing there, he begged, "Just now, I didn't know how to be reasonable. 3 times the amount of food, here, please help me say something. There are 2 more chapters." Chapter 96. It was almost noon. The clouds had not dispersed and the wind was still howling. Zhong Xiaobao and Wang Huan finally had enough sleep. When the sky was overcast, they wanted to sleep. They got up and ate something. The 2 of them rode the cart made by the carpenter and went outside to see how Zhuangzi was doing. The 2 of them sat in front and behind. The cart was made of wood and had no chains. Both wheels had to be pedaled. The person sitting in front was responsible for controlling the direction. The person behind was more tired and had to keep up with the person in front. There were 2 pieces of wood at the back of the cart. There were 2 small wheels on top of the wood to maintain balance. The wheels were 3 inches wide and 5 inches in diameter. They would not fall over even if they stood there. "Xiaobao, do you think it will rain heavily? If it does, we should release the water." This time, Wang Huan was in front. She was controlling the direction while asking, "How would I know? We will talk about it later. We are not in a hurry to release the water. If we release the water and there is no rain, how are we going to survive these few months? Millet, wheat, rice, and sorghum all need water. The vegetable field cannot be lacking. The trees cannot be withered. There is also water for daily life." Zhong Xiaobao looked at Wang Huan from the corner of his eyes. The 2 of them were moving at the same time. The cart moved forward slowly. It was not as fast as the 2 of them running. The main reason was that they did not want others to serve them. If they went out alone, they would be afraid of falling. But if they rode the cart, they would not have to worry about falling. Zhong Xiaobao replied to Wang Huan. In his heart, he was thinking about whether to give the county the 1,500 taels of silver. He could take out this amount of money. He still had a lot of money left. If he made those burned beans and sold them as soy sauce, he could make a lot of money. 55,000 dan. For every 5 jin, he could make 2 copper coins. According to this price, he could make almost 32 copper coins per dan. If he sold all these, he could make 1,740 taels of silver. The main reason was that he did not spend any money on soybeans. As for whether he could sell them and where he sold them, it was up to him. If he wanted to make money, he had to sell them. Logically speaking, he should give the money. He did not lose money. If he really lost money, it was because he exchanged the wood ear for soybeans. He lost some money. What are you thinking about? Why haven't you spoken for a long time? Wang Huan noticed that Zhong Xiaobao was silent, so she turned her head and asked, "Didn't County Magistrate Cheng say that he wants money from us? I was just thinking whether to give it to him or not. If it were up to me, I wouldn't give it to him. Why should I give him so much money? Our family's money doesn't come from nowhere. How much have we helped him? Give me an inch, and you want a mile. Why don't we give him less? It's not easy for him. This is also considered an investment. Don't those Western countries do this a lot?" Wang Huan was definitely not a child. She still understood some things. In the beginning, she said that she would not give it to him, but later on, she compromised. "Then I'll give it to him. But I definitely can't give it to him directly. I want to exchange it for something else. I heard from Song Jingong that the soil on the south coast of Little Luoshuai is not bad. There are some rocky mountains on the north coast. There are few trees on the mountains and it's not suitable for farming. That's 1,500 taels of silver. No one would be unwilling to buy a mountain like that. It's just a waste to leave it there. If we buy it, won't County Magistrate Cheng be able to use the money? Zhong Xiaobao thought for a while and gave such an answer. Wang Huan stopped and looked back at Zhong Xiaobao. Didn't you say that that place is more than 1,000 mu? You want to buy it with 1,500 taels of silver. 1,800 mu is only 1 square kilometer. That place is made of rocky mountains. 1 tael of silver per mu is not a small amount. If you add a little more, you can buy a mu of land. He should be secretly happy. This is also because that place has no production and doesn't need to pay taxes. Otherwise, who would buy it? Zhong Xiaobao said it with confidence. If Wang Huan didn't know what kind of person he was, she would definitely be moved by his righteousness. In reality, the more Wang Huan listened to Zhong Xiaobao, the more she felt that there was a problem. But she didn't directly expose him. Oh, so that's how it is. You lost money, right? You must not pay taxes. Last year, 5 families in Zhuangzi didn't produce silk, but they paid an extra 70 taels of silver. It was my family that paid for it. What is this? This year, I think they should pay it too. Why don't we change it? If you can pay from your family to my family, you can directly waive the tax. Those 7 families don't have good lives. If you can help them, help them. Do you know how to calculate? If you change my family's people, then won't my family have to pay too? It's just a transfer of losses. You are harming others to benefit yourself. The fundamental problem is not solved at all. Fine, leave this matter to me. This year, let them raise more chickens. When the time comes, use eggs and chicken to pay. Why are they so stubbornly guarding the land that they can't grow? Zhong Xiaobao knew that those 7 families all had patients in their families. Last year, there was no welfare for them. They spent a lot of money on medicine. At the end of the year, when they paid the rent, they didn't hand in any silk, so they paid an extra 14 taels of silver. This year, there was welfare, and they could find some easy work for them to do. They could use this money to pay the rent. However, seeing that the county magistrate didn't know how to appreciate their kindness, they didn't treat him well. From time to time, some people would find fault with him. For example, the streets were too messy. Of course, if they paid, they would say that it was bustling. County Magistrate Cheng was well aware of this. He didn't make any excuses and let them say whatever they wanted. It was cloudy this year, so County Magistrate Cheng was happy. He hoped that there would be rain to alleviate the disaster. However, some people said that it was cold. County Magistrate Cheng was angry and found the Deputy County Magistrate. After a few words, the Deputy County Magistrate glanced at those people and left. After waiting for them to leave, County Magistrate Cheng started to work on the case. In fact, there weren't many cases. Since Zhu Shihu stopped making trouble, County Magistrate Cheng dealt with those wandering gangs. The county became much more stable. It was just a case where a chicken that laid eggs suddenly went missing or a cow that got sick. For the people at the top, they didn't need to care about such small things. However, for the people, it was a big loss. If the chicken went missing, there would be no eggs. Perhaps the family was counting on the eggs to survive. Even if they sold the chicken, they could get some firewood. Chen Dong, go to Li Liu's house and have a look. Why is his pig not eating? County Magistrate Cheng threw a stick from the case and ordered the bailiff, who often went to Zhongjia Zhuangzi. Yes, I'll go and have a look. Chen Dong had long been used to these kinds of messy things. He took the stick and left in a hurry. If the pig starved to death, Li Liu's family would lose a few taels of silver. Song Yang, go to Shay village and have a look. Why is one duck missing from Wang Wu's house? Find out whether it was dragged away by something in the river or stolen by someone. County Magistrate Cheng dealt with the cases one by one. They could eat delicious food that they had never eaten in other places, talk about the scenery, and recite a few lines of poetry. This trip was not in vain. Thinking of this, their mood became better. They did not feel annoyed sitting in the carriage. "Uncle, something seems wrong. There is no restaurant here. Even the roadside tea stalls are a pile of rubbish. Where does County Magistrate Cheng want to take me?" Others did not know the situation here, but Zhu Shihu knew. He followed a group of bad friends. Back then, he rode a horse and went around the entire county. He already knew where there was anything. "Xiao Hu, are you sure? I don't know where we will go if we continue on this road. Could it be that we are going out of Sanshui County?" When Zhu Shihu heard this, he could not help but be surprised. He asked his nephew softly. Zhu Shihu waved his hand. "If we want to go out of the county, we will have to walk until midnight. There is a village in front of us. Although it is called a village, in fact, there are only a dozen families. There is not even a river around it. They can't dig a well for drinking water. They all drink water from a water bottle in the mountains. They are farming inferior fields. Not to mention that the harvest is not guaranteed. I think County Magistrate Cheng is crazy and wants to take him there. Forget it, I don't expect to eat anything. Uncle, come. Luckily, I'm used to eating the food made by the Zhong family's farmstead and brought some. Eat first, otherwise you'll be hungry later. After another quarter of an hour, the vehicles in front won't be able to pass and we'll have to get off and walk. County Magistrate Cheng, you'd better take a shortcut, otherwise we'll have to climb the mountain." Zhu Shihu jumped off the car and ran to his small car. He took some things and came back. He put the things in front of his uncle and poured half a bowl of wine for his uncle. He signaled his uncle to eat. Zhu Shihu was not pretentious. He could already guess what he would eat when he entered the village. His body was his, and he would feel bad if he was starving. He picked up the food that his nephew gave him and ate it. Zhu Shihu also ate. Sure enough, just as Zhu Shihu said, when the uncle and nephew finished eating, the team stopped. County Magistrate Cheng jumped off the car first and said to the crowd, "Everyone, the carriages in front are no longer feasible. It is better to get off and walk. After walking for a while, we will reach a good place." "Really? County Magistrate Cheng, is it a place with mountains and rivers?" A person who was holding back his hunger fantasy asked happily. "Yes. Just like the poem recited by young Master Song, there is no road, we know about this." Song Jinggong's quote from Song Jinggong, the gifted scholar song, has already spread to the other side. The next sentence is, "There is a light at the end of the tunnel." Good place to go. Before County Magistrate Cheng could finish his sentence, this person said and shook his head as if he was the one who wrote the poem. "Then, you will have to work hard." Cheng Lingxiang had a smile on his face. He raised his hand and led the way with the deputy district magistrate and 2 bailiffs. It's okay. I didn't expect there to be such a good place in Sanshui County. Everyone, please." This person also smiled and waved his hand. He pretended not to care and followed behind. The others naturally followed. At first, the road was still easy to walk on, but after half an hour, there was no road under his feet. He could only vaguely see that there was a trace of less grass in the half-withered grass. It should be that someone had walked by occasionally, which was why it was like this. Zhu Shihu stayed beside his uncle with 2 water bags on his back. Seeing that the crowd was still talking about the scenery, he whispered to his uncle, "Uncle, it's over. County Magistrate Cheng really wants to torture people. If we walk to the village on this road, we may see people before dark. If we really want to go there, we will have to walk for 2 hours. Fortunately, I brought enough water. I know that County Magistrate Cheng is not a good person. I will get you a stick later. You can use it as a crutch. Don't force yourself. As Ju Shihu spoke, his eyes looked around, trying to find a suitable branch. He knew that his uncle rarely walked so far and would get tired easily. Ju Shihu did not doubt his uncle. Ju Cheong did not doubt his nephew. When he heard these words, he took a deep breath and prepared himself for suffering. Looking at the water skin on his nephew's back, he was very satisfied. His nephew was really sensible now. He knew how to do business to earn money for his family. He knew how to care for others and even made some arrangements in advance. When he went to the Zhong family's farmstead, he had to thank them properly. Suddenly, he thought of something and asked his nephew in a low voice. Xiao Hu, I didn't eat the beef jerky in the car just now. I thought it was too dry. Did you bring it? I think you will be hungry when you see people. Peng, peng, peng. Ju Shihu patted his arms and winked. Uncle, don't worry. I've brought everything. Didn't you see me go back to my car when I got off the bus? Not only did I bring the beef jerky, but I also wrapped a large scallion pancake and 2 salted duck eggs in oil paper. These were all made by Zhengjia Zhuangzi. Unfortunately, there was no hot water. Otherwise, there would be beef marrow oil tea noodles in my car. They are all gifts for me to show filial piety to my elders. I eat now and usually go to their shop. The price is cheap and the taste is not bad. These pancakes were bought this morning. Ju Cheong looked over and found that his nephew's body was indeed bulging. He couldn't help but sigh. His nephew had gotten lucky this time because of the trouble he caused. Someone who could help a business partner to be filial to their elders couldn't be a bad person. At this time, he could not wait to get rid of these people and go to Zhuangzi to thank them. He also wanted to see what he could do to help. He could not just wait to take advantage of them. Ju Shihu and his nephew Ju Shihu were ready. County Magistrate Cheng had also eaten and drank to his heart's content. The 2 fourth-rank officials from the imperial court had also been given tea and snacks by the Yamen runners. They must have eaten some, so they did not have to worry about being hungry. As for the rest of the people, they were suppressing the nausea in their stomachs and talking about the flowers and trees. When the drought came, the flowers were about to wither and the grass was wilting. The scenery was not so charming. County Magistrate Cheng still had the same smile on his face. As he walked, he sped up slightly. Everyone followed him and the group of people walked towards the legendary another village. Chapter 98. As the night approached, the stars in the distance were slightly visible and the moon was new. The sky was clear and cloudless. Who played the flute again? The sound of the flute was like the sound of the mountains. At this moment, it really looks like the residence of the immortals. Uncle, what do you think? Ju Shihu and his uncle walked to a place about 10 steps away from the others. They found a large rock and sat down. They faced the other mountain and spoke loudly. Those who came to take advantage of them were no longer as spirited as before. They lay there like dead dogs. They did not care if the half-withered grass pricked their bodies and did not care if the dew in the night would catch a cold. They did not have any strength in their bodies and their stomachs did not stop growling. Originally, they thought that County Magistrate Cheng had already arranged for them to eat when they were tired. In the beginning, they could still hold on for a while. After walking for 4 hours, people began to ask County Magistrate Cheng. Every time, County Magistrate Cheng would reply, "Soon, we'll be there soon." They had walked for a long time. It was already midnight. After a while, it would be midnight. They could see that there were a few faint lights flashing in front of them. They also heard the sound of the flute. At first, they felt that it was melodious, but now it was ear-piercing. County Magistrate Cheng, are you planning to kill us? Why are you not getting us some food at this point? A person lay there and looked sideways at County Magistrate Cheng, who also did not have much energy. County Magistrate Cheng was also tired. Other than the 2 Yamen runners who often worked, everyone else was tired. The only difference was that the 2 rank 4 officials, the Yamen runners, the deputy county magistrate, Ju Shihu's uncle and nephew, and the county magistrate himself had eaten before. The others did not have anything to eat. They only had some porridge in the morning. Until now, they had to walk on the mountain road. They were able to persevere because it would be further to go back. County Magistrate Cheng took a sip of water and said, "I heard that this place is better, but I didn't expect it to be so fast. I thought I would arrive at dusk, but I miscalculated. I'm sorry, my lords. Please drink some water first and save it. When we came here, we prepared half a bag of water, so there's not much left." As they were talking, County Magistrate Cheng ordered the bailiffs to bring water to everyone. Those who came to take advantage of the situation were given large water bags. Everyone drank a few mouthfuls of water. When it came to the two officials in charge, they were given small water bags. The two officials took the water bags and drank as usual. Suddenly, they were stunned. Under the moonlight, they glanced at everyone else. Wei Wei leaned over and started to drink slowly. The two of them drank and chewed at the same time. They tried their best to prevent the sound of their chewing from being heard. The bowl was filled with thick lotus seed porridge. It was a little cold, but it was better than being hungry. The bailiffs brought it to Zhu Shihu. Zhu Shihu opened it and smelled it. He passed it over and indicated that there was no need. He took out a salted duck egg and gave it to the bailiffs. The bailiffs were stunned and nodded gratefully. They took the salted duck egg and turned to leave. "Uncle, eat something. Looking at the situation, we have to leave soon. We still have 4 hours to go. Try this scallion pancake." Zhu Shihu looked back at the people who only had water to drink. He chuckled and took out the pancake. He tore off a piece and gave it to his uncle. "It's delicious. When your father and I were young, our family was poor and we couldn't eat anything. One day, we picked up a piece of pancake that someone accidentally dropped on the ground. Your father and I ate it for 3 days. It tasted similar to this. Why is the duck egg so salty?" Zhu Qiong took a bite of the pancake and ate a little of the duck egg white. He whispered to his nephew. Zhu Shihu ate as well. He took out the beef jerky and put it into his mouth. It's not salty, so not many people buy it. The small shops here at the Zhong family's farmstead are only for people who don't have a lot of money to eat. Usually, a few people go there and order 2 dishes and a few salted duck eggs. They eat almost all of the dishes with wine and then eat some staple food. 1 duck egg is enough. There are also some who go inside and ask for a bowl of wine and a salted egg. Eggs are cheap. After sipping a bit of salted egg and drinking a mouthful of wine, they can put away the remaining half of the salted egg and still have enough for 2 meals. If it's too light, they won't be able to eat anymore. That's why many people go to his store to eat. I see. This is the first time I've heard of such a thing. But since they have a recipe to make the dishes taste better, why don't they buy a place in the county and open a restaurant? Zhu Qiong sighed and felt a little puzzled. Zhu Shihu shook his head. I don't know. That Zhuangzi is always bold and imaginative. Uncle, eat some more pancake and drink some water. He passed the water bag to his uncle and waited for him to finish the pancake. Otherwise, the salted duck egg taste would still be in his mouth. Some people were hungry while others were eating stealthily. After a quarter of an hour, County Magistrate Cheng, who finished the porridge, said, "My lords, we've rested enough. Shall we continue?" I can't walk anymore. County Magistrate Cheng, ask someone to get some food and 2 blankets from the house over there. We can't walk anymore. The person who spoke first was now acting like a rascal. He lay there and sighed. With him taking the lead, the others didn't move. They just waited there. They didn't believe that County Magistrate Cheng would let them starve to death here. County Magistrate Cheng thought for a while and nodded. All right. Since you're willing to wait here, I'll go ahead with the 3 lords. When we get there, I'll ask someone to send the food. Take care, my lords. County Magistrate Cheng was about to leave. The 3 lords he was talking about were the 2 from the Imperial Court and Zhu Qiong. The Yamen runner, Deputy County Magistrate, and Zhu Shihu all got up. Zhu Qiong and the other 2 had eaten, so of course, they had to follow. After they left and walked dozens of steps, one of the people who were still lying on the ground screamed, "Oh no, once they leave, County Magistrate Cheng will prepare food and drinks for the three lords first and then think of us. Won't the food be sent tomorrow morning? The Yarman runner can rest on the way. We'll either starve to death or freeze to death. I have to follow." As soon as he finished speaking, he got up and ran. He didn't look hungry or tired at all. He was forced to do so. The others were stunned for a while and then followed him. They didn't think that they would die from the cold or starvation. It would be fine for them to survive for a few days, but they would suffer a lot. Hearing the footsteps behind him, County Magistrate Cheng raised the corner of his mouth but didn't say anything. The two Yarman runners led the way in front. Fortunately, there was still some light from the stars and the moon. Otherwise, they would have to walk until the next morning. Along the way, no one spoke. There was nothing to say. They were so tired that even breathing was strenuous. Only when it was yin did they arrive at their destination. There were more than 30 houses and more than a dozen families. There was a torch lit, and there were more than 20 people standing there, waiting. "My lord, why are you so late?" "Ah, I didn't do a good job." As soon as County Magistrate Cheng and the others appeared, Song Jingong came up and said apologetically. He was arranged by Zhong Xiaobao to come. He didn't intend to torture them. He just asked County Magistrate Cheng to lead them to a place and let Zhu Shihu's uncle secretly go to Zhongjia Zhuangzi. In the end, County Magistrate Cheng was angry and changed the plan slightly. That was why it turned out like this. "You can't even do such a small thing? Is it so difficult to prepare some food?" County Magistrate Cheng's face darkened and he shouted. When the people who came to take advantage of the situation heard this, they understood that County Magistrate Cheng had already arranged for people to come here and prepare. It seemed that the people who came didn't succeed. The hope just now turned into disappointment. They would starve to death if they didn't have food. Song Jingong lowered his head even more and explained, "My lord, it's not that we didn't prepare food. The people here did prepare food, but they asked for money. I didn't bring any money." "My lord, did you bring any?" County Magistrate Cheng shook his head and turned around to ask, "I didn't bring any. I'll ask the other lords." "My lords, the food over there is already prepared. May I know which lord has money?" Everyone shook their heads. Who would bring money when they went down? They were all waiting to take the money back. Zhu Shihu did bring some, but he wouldn't take it out stupidly. He imitated others and shook his head like a rattle drum. "Ah, they didn't bring any money. What should we do? Why don't we put them on credit first? I'll send them the money later. Zijin, you go and discuss with them." County Magistrate Cheng said awkwardly. Song Jingong followed the order and left. After a while, he turned around and smiled helplessly. "My lord, it won't work. They don't believe me. I'll send them the money later. Don't put them on credit. I have a jade pendant. I'll leave it with them first. County Magistrate Cheng can help me get it back." An official was so hungry that he couldn't bear it anymore. He took out a jade pendant that was supposed to be hanging on his waist and handed it over. He was a little distressed. He was afraid that it would be scratched when he went up the mountain, so he put it in his pocket. Song Jingong took the jade pendant and went to discuss with them. After a while, 2 people came back. In addition to Song Jingong, there was an old man with wrinkles on his face. His hair and beard were all white. He carried a piggyback. He walked over and said, "My lords, it's not that the villagers are stingy. It's just that life is hard. The weather is dry, and we don't know how the harvest will be in autumn. The villagers are all afraid. Oh, I'm the chief of the village. My surname is Qin. My lords, you can call me Old Tuor." After saying this, he didn't wait for others to speak and continued, "I don't know which lord this pendant belongs to. Forgive me for my poor eyesight. I can't tell whether this is jade or stone. It may be worth a lot of money to a knowledgeable person, but in the village, it's not as good as half a bowl of coarse chaff. My lord, please take this stone, oh no, jade pendant back." "How can this be a stone?" You. The official who took out the jade pendant carefully took it in his hand and stared at the old man. It's not a stone. I was wrong. Jade, it's jade. It's good jade, but no one in the village knows. This Qin village chief was obviously scared. He explained incoherently while trembling. He meant that the jade was not good, but there was food. Let's see what you can exchange for it. County Magistrate Cheng held back his laughter. He felt that this Qin village chief was so nice, so he came out to smooth things over. My lord, don't be angry. It's not worth arguing with them. Qin village chief, tell me, how can you give us food? You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.